you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter.
Tired of that outdated bath or shower but dread the cost and hassle of a lengthy remodel? Let Jacuzzi Bath Remodel come to the rescue with the perfect bathroom remodel at a price you can afford. Maybe stepping over that high bathtub feels unsafe, or you want to add a beautiful bath your whole family can enjoy. Whether it's a safer, easy entry shower complete with grab bars and a custom seat, to a beautiful spa-like family bath that's functional and stylish. With a Jacuzzi Bath Remodel, you can enjoy your personalized bath or shower installed in as little as 1 day. Right now, we're waiving all installation costs, plus offering no interest and no payments for up to 1 year. To schedule your free design consultation and quote, call now. Call 800-384-5277. That's 800-384-5277. 800-384-5277. With purchase and installation, financing through third-party lenders, subject to credit approval. No interest and no payments if paid in full within 12 months. Interest charged from purchase date if not paid in full. Not all will qualify. Call dealer for details.
Your kitchen's outdated. Your bathroom feels cramped. Every day you wait, prices go up. And you keep living in a space that doesn't work. At Forever Remodeling, one team handles everything. Design, planning, and installation, start to finish. We show you your new space in 3D before we ever break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you think. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4everremodeling.com to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
Sean Fest returns on August 28th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. Be a part of a live, on-location broadcast of The Sean Thompson Show, including a performance of the national anthem, followed by live music, food, drinks, and an opportunity to meet Sean Thompson. Registration is free. Go to 560theanswer.com/SeanFest. That's 560theanswer.com/SHAUN Fest. Sponsored in part by LeavingIL.com and by Unique Wooden Flags.
It's July 24th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is National Amelia Earhart Day. The pioneering female aviator and author was born on this day in 1897. One of her greatest achievements was her solo crossing of the Atlantic in 1932, becoming the first woman and first person since Charles Lindbergh to make the nonstop flight. Tragically, while trying to circumnavigate the globe in 1937, Earhart's plane disappeared over the Pacific near Howland Island. However, today is meant to honor her many achievements as she continues to inspire generations of women to become flyers. Also on this date, in 1969, the astronauts of NASA's Apollo 11 mission returned to Earth after their successful trip to the moon, where Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin walked on the lunar surface. The two men, along with command module pilot Michael Collins, returned as heroes. If it's your birthday today, you share it with Wonder Woman actress Linda Carter, born in 1951. I'm Tushar Saxena, and that's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
Join Illinois Family Action for the Save America Rally, 7 p.m. Tuesday, August 4th at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. Former U.S. Comptroller General David M. Walker, along with businessman and author Joe Penland Sr., will offer big, bold, and practical solutions for fixing Social Security and protecting other vital programs from the reach of those who preach for communism in America. And during the Save America Rally, hopeful messages for the land of Lincoln from key Illinois candidates: Darren Bailey for governor, Don Tracy for U.S. Senate, and James Martyr for Congress. Go to IllinoisFamilyAction.org for more information. IFA's David Smith.
Join us as we stand together to save America.
The Save America Rally is free. Be there Tuesday, August 4th at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. Find out more at IllinoisFamilyAction.org. Paid for by Illinois Family Action.
If you're a tax-paying, law-abiding lover of America and the American dream, you need to be listening to Saving the American Dream with Jim Martyr. Every Saturday at 7 p.m., Jim tackles the issues that matter most: faith, family, freedom, and the fight to protect life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Saving the American Dream with Jim Martyr, heard Saturday evenings at 7, right here on AM 560 The Answer. Podcasts available at 560theanswer.com.
Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation. This is the Gulf of America cruise. 7 days through the Caribbean with Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn, and a ship full of people who love this country. No packing and unpacking, no complicated planning, just great destinations, meaningful conversations, and a once-in-a-generation celebration of America's 250th. This November, be there. Text CRUISE to 94878 to book your cabin today.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1862, Abraham Lincoln signed the Morrill Act, helping states create colleges focused on agriculture, mechanics, science, and practical education. The principle was not centralized control, it was opportunity. Lincoln's Morrill Act reminds us that America can support education without surrendering education to Washington. Why did it matter? Because a free nation needs citizens equipped to work, build, steward, and govern themselves. Scripture gives work a sacred weight. In Genesis, God placed man in the garden to work it and to keep it. Proverbs honors the one who works his land. Paul warns against idleness and calls believers to earn their bread. Why does that still matter today? Because education should form capable people under God, not dependent subjects under bureaucracy.
Making the switch to a new communications and IT company may seem like a big ordeal, but if you're not getting the reliable support, consistent internet, and secure solutions your company needs, meet Access One, your local Chicagoland IT experts. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for over 30 years from our headquarters right here in the West Loop. Whether it's VoIP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One is here for you. Serving thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore, Access One is Chicago-owned and Chicago-run, a trusted IT partner for law firms, clinics, tech startups to manufacturers. We'll make the switch easier than you think. Let's talk. Call 800-804-8333 or visit accessoneinc.com. Rated top 5% in customer satisfaction and a Better Business Bureau A+ rated business. That's accessoneinc.com. Tech made personal, locally.
Adult Beverage Solutions is looking for a brand ambassador in all areas for beverage sampling events. You have the ability to create your own schedule because most events take place Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays at local grocery stores and independent liquor stores. Flexible scheduling with the ability to choose events that you would like to work. Receive event pay weekly. State alcohol certification is mandatory for all ambassadors. Must be 21 years of age. Competitive pay with the opportunity to earn bonus for exceptional performance. Each event you will provide consumers with product education while collecting consumer feedback. If you are interested, our team would like to connect with you about this opportunity. Please email us at careers.abstastings@gmail.com with your information and where you are located, and our team will be in touch soon. Or check us out online at adultbeveragesolutions.com/join-now. That's adultbeveragesolutions.com/join-now.
Have you been watching gold and silver lately? Hard to ignore. Back in January of 2025, silver was under $30 an ounce, and now it's more than doubled. Again, not bad, right? Some experts say this bull market is just getting started. Others say it's a good time to take some money off the table. Either way, whether you're buying or selling, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is the place to go. They stock large quantities of all the major bullion coins and bars. And here's what sets them apart. Unlike places that only pay melt value, Fox Valley Coins pays more for high-grade coins and scarcer dates. That's real money left in your pocket. They also buy scrap sterling flatware, jewelry, silver-plated items, and old proof sets. And they specialize in U.S. and foreign collector and investment coins and currency, both buying and selling. Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at Ferry Road in Naperville. Family-owned with integrity since 1981.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Crosscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Crosscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Crosscom.
Call Crosscom. Crosscom. 630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
Call Crosscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Crosscom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Crosscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high-quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
Hey, did you ever track down that missing warehouse key?
I forgot all about it.
You forgot? You said that guy was furious when you had to let him go.
That doesn't matter anymore. Goldilocks set us up with new managed access control. We're keyless now. Everyone has a card or fob. Even their phone works.
Huh. You don't have to worry about people copying keys either.
Yeah, never again. Goldilocks allows me to handle everything from my phone or laptop. I can see who came into the building, when they left, restrict their access at night. I can grant temporary access to visitors, too. It takes 30 seconds to add or remove someone.
That sounds a lot safer and simpler.
Stop guessing who has access to your building. Set up access controls today by calling Goldilocks at 708-889-5600. Again, that's 708-889-5600 or visit GoldilocksInc.com. Goldilocks. Security under your control.
Have you ever wondered, with all the different religions and interpretations of the Bible, how you can be sure that you're on the right path in your spiritual journey? The powerful new book, You and God by Peter Philippi, helps you answer this question and discover how to establish a truly personal relationship with God through biblical understanding and faith. Get your copy of You and God by Peter Philippi today by visiting pbmusa.org. That's pbmusa.org.
The TV tide is turning, and millions of Americans are tuning to Salem News Channel. For breaking news, common sense analysis, and the conservative voices leading the conversation, SNC delivers the stories that matter most. Watch Scott Jennings, Larry Elder, Mike Gallagher, and many others tackling the issues facing our nation. Stream free on Pluto TV, Samsung TV, the Roku channel, and more. Salem News Channel, the news you want, the perspective you trust.
Alex Marlow cuts through the political spin on the Alex Marlow podcast.
The economics of illegal immigration is so dumb. It's so stupid for Americans. We want American dollars to stay in America. That's how the economy grows. But if I pay an illegal alien and they send 50% of it home, the money doesn't go to American businesses. It goes to another country. Why do we want that? It's a race to the far left Islamist wing of the party.
Subscribe for free today on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
What if the music stopped? If the familiar voices were silenced? If there were no breaking news updates? What if your companion and connection to your community came with a monthly fee? Don't worry, we're free local radio with you wherever you go, celebrating 100 years and looking forward to the next 100. We are broadcasters. Text radio to 52886 and let Congress know you depend on your local TV and radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Have you ever wondered, with all the different religions and interpretations of the Bible, how you can be sure that you're on the right path in your spiritual journey? The powerful new book, You and God by Peter Philippi, helps you answer this question and discover how to establish a truly personal relationship with God through biblical understanding and faith. Get your copy of You and God by Peter Philippi today by visiting pbmusa.org. That's pbmusa.org.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation. This is the Gulf of America cruise. 7 days through the Caribbean with Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn, and a ship full of people who love this country. No packing and unpacking, no complicated planning, just great destinations, meaningful conversations, and a once-in-a-generation celebration of America's 250th. This November, be there. Text CRUISE to 94878 to book your cabin today.
Hey AM 560 listeners, Jeff checking in again from JeffBuysYourHouse.com. What I learned serving our great nation in the military is that every mission is unique and success starts with listening. For nearly 20 years, our veteran-led house buying team has taken the time to understand what matters most to each homeowner we serve. Every home has a story, and every seller has different needs. Whether you want a quick closing or need extra time to find your next place, we customize our approach around what works best for you. That's how we've earned hundreds of 5-star Google reviews and an A+ rating with the BBB, by putting relationships first. No repairs needed, no cleanout required, and you pick the closing date that works best for your schedule. At JeffBuysYourHouse.com, we're here to help you through the entire transition, not just the transaction. Are you ready to work with a local team that takes the time to understand your home selling needs? Sell your house to the trusted source by calling us today at 630-895-9530. That's 630-895-9530 or JeffBuysYourHouse.com.
I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. If you're a business owner with unfiled tax returns, tax season is not your friend. This is when the IRS turns up the heat. They match 1099s. They review payroll filings. They compare bank deposits. And when returns are missing, they don't send you a warning. They take action. Penalties stack up fast. Liens become public. Bank levies can drain your account. I see it every year. Good business owners who waited too long. Not because they're crooks, but because they were overwhelmed. Let me be clear. Hiding makes it worse. Action makes it fixable. I help business owners get compliant, file what's missing, and negotiate from a position of strength, not fear. Don't wait for the next certified letter. Don't wait for a levy. Go to fightbacknow.com and sign up for my daily email. I'll tell you exactly what to do next, step by step. Or call me right now at 312-664-6649. Act now before the IRS acts first.
This is Seth Leibson for townhall.com. Few great speeches last. We still study and know, or at least recognize, a line or two from perhaps a dozen of them, from Pericles to Lincoln, from Martin Luther King to Ronald Wilson Reagan. Secretary of State Marco Rubio delivered such a speech last week, and its heft speaks to its durability, its importance to its endurance. Rubio, the Trump administration's in-house intellectual carrying the portfolio for ideological threats to the West, spoke on the resurgence of political terrorism. He punctured all the progressive historians' narratives, namely that political violence and terrorism is and has been the unique province of the right. He detailed the history of terrorism, from Marxist inspiration to Islamism to their toxic confluence constituting the red-green axis. Then he released a report on Cuba as the fount of an unprecedented wave of left-wing terrorism in America and throughout the world. Few have understood political violence and its intellectual roots as well as Secretary Rubio. To defeat it, we need to heed the teachings of the good secretary.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Today will be pleasant with plenty of sunshine and a few clouds, reaching a high of 80. Tonight will be clear to partly cloudy with a low of 65. Tomorrow, expect increased humidity with a mix of clouds and sunshine and a high of 82. By Sunday, it will be humid with intervals of sunshine and a high of 90. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Yes. Welcome to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer. I am not Dan Proft, of course. I am Mike Coolidge, thrilled to be pinch hitting again on this end of the week broadcast of the greatest show in all of radio, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer with Dan Proft. It's just a little bit less good when someone other than Dan Proft is hosting. We all can admit that, right? But you are still tuned in. And yes, it is Open Line Friday, which I'm super thrilled about. We will be taking calls throughout the show. And yes, open line, any topic you want. Later on, our number, of course, from the alphawealthgroup.com talk and text line is 312-642-5600. 312-642-5600. You can also text. And I've got all of the toys and things that enable me to see the immediate texts. And we've got Justin and Quinn in studio screening the calls, seeing what you guys want to say, and giving me a little tease of it. I love the callers of this show because, again, if you've not heard me fill in before, I am a fan myself, a regular listener. I listen to pretty much every single segment of the show every single week. And today's going to be weird, or whenever I'm filling in is weird, because I don't listen always live. I occasionally listen to it on Rumble or on YouTube and put it on a faster speed. You know, it's part of the to-do list of the day. Get that dopamine rush when I've completed listening to Dan's show. But after I'm done today, I won't need to go back and listen to anything because I was there for it, right? So I'll check that box. And if you're listening to this later on, remember, you can fast forward or put the speed at 1.5 or even 2.0 during these segments. But when it gets to the commercial breaks, put it back at 1, listen, and take notes. Dan has been on fire this week. And this whole fight that is going on, it's not really even a fight. It is this awareness that communists, neo-Marxists, are taking over the Democrat Party, and they don't know what to do. You know, you've got the Jon Stewart types who clearly want to not tick them off because so many of the people in big city America who aren't really doing well in life, they have these fancy degrees, they have these elite, ways about them, but they can't get a job because maybe they spent a little bit too much money on their undergraduate and postgraduate degrees and are hyper educated but low or maybe no income. And they think rather than looking at themselves and saying, hey, maybe I made some bad choices in life that got me to this. Maybe I should make different ones. Maybe I should adjust accordingly. They say, no, it's the system. It's capitalism. It's this terrible country. It's the fact that North Dakota has 2 senators and so does California. That's one of the things that absolutely irks me every time I hear some leftist on TV. And sometimes it's even like mainstream Democrats like Cory Booker who rail against the fact that we only have 2 senators for California and North and South Dakota get 2 as well. Have any of these people taken the most basic civics courses in history, or forget about whether they've taken it or not? What sort of teachers did these people have where they don't explain the very basics of how our American government is set up? We've got the House of Representatives. California has a inordinate amount of congressmen, 50-something congressmen, right? So they are way represented in the House of Representatives, but yes, they only get 2 senators. That is the part of the brilliance of how our founding fathers set up our country, set up our government. And even if the House passes something, it has to get through the Senate. And even if it gets through both, the president doesn't have to sign it. He can veto it. But if they have a majority, they can override the veto. And even then, it's not the law. If the Supreme Court says it's unconstitutional, we have all these brilliant checks and balances set up. There's a reason we have 2 senators per state. No, we're not getting rid and throwing out the entire system of government just because you decided to major in women's studies and can't get a job in New York City and you're $200,000 in debt and have never worked a day in your life. We have so much awesome stuff to get to here, some great clips, and some things that you won't hear Dan play on this show. I know. I'm the biggest fan of this radio show there is, but I know there's certain things that Dan doesn't do and doesn't play on the show, but when I'm filling in, you'll occasionally hear outside the box audio, and that's coming up after this on AM 560, The Answer.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as Big Wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments. Just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
AM 560, The Answer.
Yes, the text lines are fired up already. Got a good morning. Welcome, Mike Coolidge from an 847 number. Thank you again. 312-642-5600. Now let's turn it into the newsroom with Mike Scott.
Mike, good morning. In the QC Kinetics newsroom, Des Plaines officials are calling a condo building fire from several months ago an arson.
Evidence indicates gasoline was used as the accelerant, and investigators determined it was poured throughout the hallways, common areas, and stairwells.
Fire Chief Matt Matzel, the blaze began May 6 at a 3-story apartment complex in the 1200 block of Hardin Avenue. Fire leaders say Tanner Bayramel, who is accused of setting that fire, died in the blaze.
Bayramley's personal items tested positive for the presence of accelerant, and video showed him purchasing a container and filling it with gasoline days before the fire at a nearby gas station.
Officials say Bayramley was captured on video showing him buying that container. 15 were hurt. 3 remain in critical condition. The Illinois Legislative Ethics Commission will very soon be forced to release a report detailing the conduct of former state representative Democrat Harry Benton. The commission voted to publish the Legislative Inspector General's report on the investigation that prompted the former Plainfield representative to resign earlier this month over sexual harassment allegations. At an unrelated event yesterday, Governor Pritzker is content to let the investigation continue.
We live in a state where we have for too long had a history of corruption that needed to be rooted out, and it is being rooted out.
Chicago Tribune previously reported that Speaker Chris Welch's office knew about the allegations years ago. 6 men arrested and charged for allegedly running brothels in northern Illinois cities were denied pretrial release late yesterday. On Thursday, multiple law enforcement agencies arrested the 6 men and rescued 3 women. One alleged brothel in West Dundee was less than 600 feet from a K-8 school. A man is dead this morning after 2 gunmen opened fire on him and a teen boy on the west side. According to the Chicago Police Department, a 49-year-old man was standing near the sidewalk while a 13-year-old boy was sitting inside a vehicle in the 3800 block of West Adams in the Garfield Park neighborhood when two armed males pulled out handguns and opened fire. A man and woman died after they were found shot inside of a car Thursday evening on the campus of the University of Chicago. And a man was killed and a woman hurt in a drive-by shooting near Promontory Point in the Hyde Park neighborhood late Thursday night. Chicago City Council is on summer break, but yesterday's session had its fair share of fireworks. The debate put the spotlight on advisory referendums scheduled for the November and February ballots.
I accept the ruling of the legal counsel. I think it shows the independence of the legal counsel, but also has shown the lack of integrity of some people who continue to block the millionaire tax.
Alderman Byron Sigcho Lopez, the millionaire tax advisory measure, was backed by Mayor Brandon Johnson. It will not be on the February ballot, and that escalated tensions when aldermen also considered a measure that would ask voters whether the council would create its own legal representation.
The body cannot establish its own independent legal counsel without the authority being granted by the state of Illinois. That is the law. Sure. It's not about whether or not the question should be asked.
So for clarity, that'd be the same criteria for a millionaire's tax.
That is when Mayor Johnson strongly opposed the action, and a back and forth ensued between he and Alderman Andre Vasquez that elevated to a shouting match. Later, the mayor denied losing control of a majority of the city council, but Alderman Matt O'Shea disagreed.
Every one of these votes the mayor went down on today because the general public has lost faith in him. City council does not trust him. This situation is only going to get worse these next several months.
Chicago sports, the Blackhawks reunite with a franchise icon, signing Patrick Kane to a 2-year, $16 million deal. Blackhawk legend and broadcaster Eddie Olczyk.
It just feels right, getting the news early this morning. He's still got a lot of gas left in the tank. He's a legend in the city. He's the greatest American-born hockey player ever to play, and he is sitting at the top of the greatest Blackhawk ever to wear that great sweater.
Cubs open up a 7-game road trip tonight in Pittsburgh, while the AL Central leading White Sox are home to host Houston. The news, a service of Aleve. One pill gives you up to 12 hours of body pain relief. So don't let pain hold you back. Try Aleve today and use as directed. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, and in 2 minutes, we'll check the AccuWeather forecast in our Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Hugh Hewitt has a solution for the birthright citizenship ruling.
A lot of people are passionate about it because Joe Biden broke the border, and there are birth tourism scandals more than you want to know about. And it's something that we ought to prosecute, something that we ought to prevent to the extent of the law possible via visa reform and via what the president has done, which is close the border.
The Hugh Hewitt Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Alex Marlowe at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as Big Wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments. Just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year. They want to make 2026 the best year ever. So to thank you, they are giving you free shipping on your entire order and wholesale pricing. So they are bringing back the mega sale. For example, the classic MyPillows, regularly $49.98, now only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the made in the USA MyPillow My Mattress Topper and save up to $100. Get a set of MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. These offers won't last long, so call 800-489-0201 or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. Order now and your entire order ships absolutely free.
If you're looking to purchase a loved one's home after they passed away, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Pam wanted to purchase her grandmother's $400,000 home after she passed away, which was left to Pam's father, Ted, and her Aunt Betty. Ted listens to my show and wanted to forego his half of the equity of his mom's home and sell Pam the home for $200,000. Bad move. I recommended Pam purchase the home for $400,000 and get a gift of equity from her father, Ted, for $200,000, which enabled Pam to purchase the home with a lower rate and no money out of her pocket. Let's review. I helped Pam purchase her grandmother's home without having to bring a penny to the closing and secure a lower rate. Team Hochberg's helped thousands of radio listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Atlantic Coast Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 643114.
A riddle brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. It was an easy riddle. Learn more at Progressive.com.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Today will be pleasant with sunny skies and a few clouds reaching a high of 80. Tonight will be clear to partly cloudy with a low of 65. Tomorrow will be more humid with a mix of clouds and sunshine reaching a high of 82. Sunday will be humid with intervals of sunshine and clouds reaching a high of 90. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is sponsored by Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman. Listen Saturday mornings at 8. Learn more at willsave.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Where is Dan at? WTH. I'll tune in Monday. Thank you for that text at the alphawebgroup.com talk and text line, which is 312-642-5600. As I understand it, I've been told Dan is trying his hand at golf. He's giving it a whirl. He had friends tell him it's fun, so he's out there giving that a shot. And yes, he will be back in on Monday. But you are being treated to the vocal musings of Mike Coolidge. Koolidge is my is my last name, but my handle on X is at Coolidge. Real simple. At Koolidge. I've filled in before. It was a ton of fun. I've never filled in on a Friday. Open line Friday. Yes, we will be opening up the lines. And as big a fan as I am of this radio show, one thing that Dan doesn't do is ever play clips of the Five. He doesn't like the Five. He doesn't watch the Five. I do. Because occasionally, not occasionally, often, it's usually either Jesse or Greg Gutfeld have an awesome diatribe. And this whole rise of communism and neo-Marxism on the left, encapsulated by Jesse Waters, I think it was Wednesday, in this monologue. And please let me know if you're offended at all by this. Spell out, please, which part he's wrong.
I want to talk about these college-educated, downwardly mobile women, because it's mostly women. The people that I know that got these advanced degrees, their parents paid for it. I mean, these are well-off families that they can afford to get a graduate degree, and then they're networked out so they can get a nice job afterwards. Or they get a PhD and they go into academia or government. They know what to expect. But if you're going to take out a loan to get a degree in the humanities or the social sciences. What are you thinking? You're going to be 28 years old, and you're going to have no skills and no experience, and you're not going to take an entry-level offer because you think you have this big fancy degree, that you're worth more. And you don't want to take that entry-level salary because you can't afford to, because you're in debt, and you want to live in Manhattan, but you can't. So you're going to have to move in with mom and dad. And that is going to kill your love life. And you're going to look around and you're going to see all your other younger friends doing better because they've been in the workforce longer and they've worked harder. So then you're going to be resentful. And then you're going to get bitter because you're single. And if you're a woman, men don't care if you have a PhD. That is not high on our list of attributes. And if you're a woman and you're looking at a guy who can't provide resources, you're not really in the market. So you're going to get angry. And then you're going to get ugly. And you're going to have a bad attitude. No one wants to hire anybody with a bad attitude. No one wants to date anybody with a bad attitude. But you could dig yourself out of the hole. You could take a job in a totally different field and work your tail off. Or you could move somewhere else. Or maybe, just maybe, you could get it together and find love. And then you could build a life together, because it's a lot easier to do that with someone else with another income, like Martha. But the Democratic Party doesn't preach that. They preach you are a victim and you are owed something and you are entitled to something. And it's not your fault that you can't take care of yourself. So this party is here to give you things and to punish other people who have made it, because it makes you feel better to punish them. But the Republican Party has to say, no, no, no. The American dream is alive and well. If you work hard and you keep your nose clean and you have a routine, it'll all open up when you're in your 40s. You're going to have a great and beautiful life. Because if you preach this other scam, you don't say that to your own son and daughter. Why are you saying that to all of these other young Americans? All right? You have to have delayed gratification, and you have to have a good attitude and a good work ethic. And if you don't want to be a broke Democrat, that is the formula.
Yeah. Jesse Waters, which part is he wrong about? Mark in Oak Lawn, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you, Mark.
Mike, thanks for taking my call. I got a bad pun for you.
Let's hear it.
My name is Mike Coolidge. I is what I smoke. Coolidge.
I get the cool part because cool cigarettes. What's the lidge part? I don't get it.
You're cool.
Oh, okay.
You know, you're a happening guy. So congratulations.
Thank you. You wanted to mention
Mike,
something about Bernie Sanders?
I did. You know, back in 2016, I mean, he was the guy. He was winning all the primaries, and you know, he was crushing Hillary. But then Hillary had to start cheating, and I think they paid off Bernie Sanders not to run. And really, the Democratic Party, it wasn't a communist party yet. You know, there was a lot of a lot of talk, but they really didn't want to go that way. But now I think they're all in, and I think their policy though is it's just like Jesse Waters said. Everyone's a victim, everyone's a racist, and we hate Trump. And that's all they stand for. They really don't have anything, any foundation. And I did want to say it's just like how the party transitioned, the Republican Party, 2016. How Trump took it over from Bush and the real far right. And I think the Democrats are going to go full on the communist side this time because I don't think there's enough. The Hillarys are losing their steam.
Thank you, Mark, and thanks for your kind words. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there with what you said. 2016 was a huge pivot point for both the right and the left, really. And I was at both conventions in 2016, the Democrats in Philadelphia and the Republicans in in Cleveland with my radio show, and you could see it. You could see the Republicans in Cleveland seeing the populism take over the right. And that was great. I was there for it, and I loved it. Then I went over to Philadelphia the week after, and you saw these enraged Bernie Sanders voters outside the arena who were really angry with how they think he was screwed over by the Democrats, which he kind of was. And they handed the through superdelegates nomination to Hillary Clinton. And I don't doubt that he was on stage and happy at one point. I'm sure he was, given whatever he wanted, whatever he was looking for to get out of the way. But he didn't get out of the way. His people didn't get out of the way. They waited. And they are here now in full force. And this idea of, if I make choices in life and they don't turn out the way I want them to, the system is messed up, is just anathema to this country and how it was built. Real quick window into my life. I got a nice degree from Boston University in the late 90s, went into the Army as an officer, served for 6 years, a year in Kuwait and Iraq, the beginning of Operation Iraqi Freedom. I decided to, maybe this was stupid, get a master's degree, right? I thought that's the way, you got to get those credentials. I wasn't quite sure, what I wanted to do after the Army, so I got this master's degree from Northwestern in communication. And I remember getting out of the Army and asking, because I already completed 1 year of this 2-year program, and I'm like, do I really want to throw good money after bad and finish this degree? I might as well. But when I finished that degree and started looking for a job, I knew at that point I wanted to do this, talk into radio microphones for a living. And I knew also that I wasn't going to get paid anything even remotely close to what I was making as a Army officer in my late 20s. Could have walked right into a government job, high 5 figures, low 6 figures probably. Instead, I took a job at a very tiny radio station in Rochelle, Illinois, making $19,000 a year. All right, this is in like the late 2000s, and I understood that's the ladder I wanted to climb, and I had to suck it up. I just got married too. I had to suck it up and work my way up the radio world, and I did, and I earned a really good living before I ended the radio show and ran for Congress and unsuccessfully. Anyway, my point was, never once did I say, man, why do they only give me $19,000 a year for this radio job? I have a master's degree, for crying out loud, from Northwestern University. I was an Army officer. Why, you should put a 1 next to that $19,000. I should be making $119,000. No, not even once. I realized that the salary that an entry-level radio guy doing a radio show on a very tiny 50-watt radio station in a very tiny town at the time, and doing all the commercials, and also, yes, taking out the trash at night. That's a dues I had to pay in order to earn my right to create a radio show. And then I grew the show on a bunch of different stations. I was upwards of 20 at one point. But that took time and effort and sacrifice. And yes, a little bit of sucking up my pride. And that really isn't something that these young people, these communists specifically, want to do. They've made these decisions, they've made their bed, and they don't want to sleep in it. Probably if they're in their parents' home, their parents are making their bed. This is AM 560, The Answer on Chicago's Morning Answer. I am Mike Coolidge in for Dan Proft. We'll be right back.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information. to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer. Sign up for the AM 560 Answer Advantage to get early alerts on event ticket sales, special discounts, and contest opportunities. Sign up today at 560theanswer.com/advantage.
Each morning, the newsmakers and the newsbreakers shaping today's conversation are heard on the AlphaWealthGroup.com answer line on Chicago's Morning Answer. When you need answers about what's happening in your world, you turn to AM 560 The Answer. And when you need answers about how to prepare for and protect your retirement, you turn to the Alpha Wealth Group, now the proud sponsor of the AM 560 Answer line, right here on Chicago's source for news, opinion, and insight. AM 560 The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Phil Silverman, CFO of Chicago Atlantic and a client of Signature. We provide capital solutions in markets where risk is often fundamentally mispriced and traditional financing can be limited. In fast-moving businesses like ours, you need more than technology. You need people who are engaged and responsive. Ahead of an important and complex transaction closing, Signature promptly assisted us in addressing a wire issue, helping us administer the closing on time while maintaining best-in-class control oversight. That kind of hands-on attention is hard to find, and that's why we value our relationship with Signature.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160, Hope for Your Life. AM 560, The Answer.
Craig in Mount Greenwood. You're on AM 560, The Answer.
Mike, thank you very much for taking my call. I really appreciate your attitude on things and that, and I agree with a lot of the things that you, the way you look at them.
Appreciate
I want
that.
to change the topic a little bit to this, our Second Amendment constitutional right to have our, like to be able to protect ourselves, and not just protect ourselves from criminals and people that want to harm us, but even from a corrupt government that wants to take and harm us and all that. It was all in there. It's all in. It's with the founders. But you stop and look at how the left, they are so hell-bent on disarming law-abiding American citizens, and at the same time, I'll give you two comparisons to show you just how rotten they are with their double standard. They'll take the big semi-trucks, and I'm a CD holder myself. I have a CDLA. I can pull, these trucks can do so much damage and kill not just individuals, big crowds. These trucks are so damn dangerous and everything, and you got to be real careful with them. That's why the amount of training and the testing and all that, it's warranted. But yet these leftist areas, they'll basically hand those things out like bubble gum, like tissue paper to illegals so they can kill anybody they want with those damn trucks.
Craig, I appreciate it. It is 6 o'clock on WIND Chicago.
talk from the Commander-in-Chief, C.J. Papa, Fox News.
They got some evil intentions. We cannot let them have a nuclear weapon.
President Trump branding the Islamic Republic while repeating his major theme in the war. No nukes for that nation. Fox's Madeline Rivera has more about how he may put the screws to Iran.
He tells Axios he is seriously considering restarting major combat operations in Iran, including strikes that would be bigger than the ones carried out in Operation Epic Fury. He did acknowledge that a decision has not been made yet, but it comes as the Wall Street Journal reports the president is losing patience over the conflict. He's reportedly become skeptical that negotiations with Iran can produce a lasting peace and is becoming more convinced that the regime will only bend to military pressure. Iran, though, has refused to capitulate despite the strikes. It rejected a U.S. ceasefire deal presented by Iraq. Iranian and Iraqi officials tell the New York Times.
At least 7 explosions heard near a military base in a northern city in Iraq, which is host to U.S. forces. Location in that nation's semi-autonomous Kurdish region. The new explosion started in the morning local time. The workaround from President Trump and his tariff team. Fox's Jared Halpern has more from the White House.
Imports from 60 countries will face anywhere from 10 to 12.5% tariffs in response to what the Trump administration says are human rights abuse and distortive trade practices. The new tariffs will replace a temporary worldwide 10% tariff expiring Friday. The administration has relied on different authorities to maintain a tariff regime after the U.S. Supreme Court struck down so-called reciprocal tariffs in February.
More than 1.6 million dozen shelled eggs have been voluntarily recalled over potential salmonella contamination. The FDA says the eggs were sold in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, New Mexico, and Mississippi. America's listening to Fox News.
66 degrees. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott in the QC Kinetics newsroom. A violent afternoon and overnight in Chicago. A man is dead after 2 gunmen opened fire on him and a teen boy on Chicago's west side Thursday evening. That boy, 13 years old, is in good condition at Stroger Cook County Hospital. A man and woman died after they were found shot inside of a car near the campus of the University of Chicago. Chicago police say it happened just after 5:30, where a 24-year-old man and 27-year-old woman were found inside of a vehicle in the 5900 block of South Ellis. Police also tell us a weapon was found at the scene. A man was killed and a woman hurt in a drive-by shooting near Promontory Point in the Hyde Park neighborhood late Thursday night. Chicago police say it happened around 11:15 p.m. along South Shore Drive. In other news this morning, an investigation is underway after a body was recovered from the Fox River in Elgin. Police say the body was discovered early yesterday in the water in the 200 block of South Grove. A bat has tested positive for rabies in the western suburbs. Officials on Thursday said the positive test marks the 3rd time this year that a rabid bat has been confirmed in Cook County. Officials say the rabid bat was located in the 900 block of North Wyola Avenue in LaGrange. Metro officials say a person is dead after being struck by a freight train in Wheaton. That incident happened yesterday near the corner of East Front Street and South Cross. Authorities have not identified that person. Cubs open up a 7-game road trip tonight in Pittsburgh, while the AL Central leading White Sox are back home to host the Astros. The Blackhawks reuniting with Patrick Kane, the franchise icon signing a 2-year deal. And Blackhawk legend and broadcaster Eddie Olczyk is pleased.
It just feels right. Getting the news early this morning. He's still got a lot of gas left in the tank. He's a legend in the city. He's the greatest American-born hockey player ever to play, and he is sitting at the top of the greatest Blackhawk ever to wear that great sweater.
The news, a service of Team Hochberg. They've helped thousands of AM 560 listeners with the best rates in service. 56david.com or call Team Hochberg at 855-563-2843. Atlantic Coast Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 613114. Traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Fest returns on August 28th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. Be a part of a live, on-location broadcast of The Sean Thompson Show, including a performance of the national anthem, followed by live music, food, drinks, and an opportunity to meet Sean Thompson. Registration is free. Go to 560theanswer.com/SeanFest. That's 560theanswer.com/SHAUN Fest. Sponsored in part by Class A Insurance, owned by Thomas Iacenta.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Well, it's official. My friends have all switched to Pure Talk because I told them they could save a bunch of money on a super reliable high-speed network with unlimited data. And because they're my friends, they trust me. As for the rest of you, well, Pure Talk understands that even though you might like me, you're not just going to take my word for it, nor should you. For that reason, and for a very limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited plan that normally sells for $65 a month. Think of it like a test drive, a super simple way to save $150 while you kick the tires on Pure Talk's blazing fast network, and a fine way to see for yourself why I switched from Big Wireless, along with a few 100,000 of my closest friends. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and be connected to Pure Talk's friendly U.S. customer service team. Again, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
6:07, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Skyway, earlier accident being swept out of your way, eastbound side, just after the Skyway toll. Tri-State Tollway, accident, right lane blocked, southbound. After Russell Road, part of that semi-trailer is in the ditch. In Indiana, stalled semi, right shoulder blocked, eastbound between the LaPorte County line and US 421. That's right at exit 34. Traffic, a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Download the app at 560theanswer.com/mobile. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, and up next, we'll check the forecast in our Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today will be pleasant with sunny skies and a few clouds, reaching a high of 80. Tonight will be clear to partly cloudy with a low of 65. Tomorrow will be more humid with a mix of clouds and sunshine, reaching a high of 82. Sunday will be humid with intervals of sunshine and clouds, reaching a high of 90. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is sponsored by Saving the American Dream with Jim Martyr, Faith, Family, Freedom, this Saturday evening at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560, The Answer.
Yes. Good morning. It is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer, with Dan Proft. We are without Dan Proft today. I am Mike Coolidge in for Dan Proft, and I'm not better than the other fill-in hosts, but I am a bigger fan than the other hosts of this radio show because I'm the biggest. I listen every day, just like you. And the fact that you are continuing to listen, even though Dan's out, says how much you are dedicated to the airwaves of AM 560, The Answer, particularly during this time of the day. And it is Open Line Friday, 312-642-5600, the alphawealthgroup.com talk and text line. I am going to continue on this, communism is not just infiltrating, they are leading the left right now. And the left doesn't know what to do, because if they have guts like people like James Carville do and Bill Maher and say, yeah, if this is where you guys are taking us, we're out. They're going to get ostracized by the left at large. And the stick their finger in the wind types who don't want to lose the, backing of the cool kids, even though it's a distinct fraction of a fraction minority of our population who believe in these crazy things, they're going to lose these midterm elections. They're not going to gain as much as they think they would. Historically, the party not in power gains in the midterm elections, and that is supposed to be what's going to happen here in November. But they're going to blow it if they keep going down this route. But also, they have a chance if Republicans don't capitalize on this. We've got to focus on this communism and Marxism that has not just infiltrated the left, but is leading the left. And it didn't come out of nowhere. We talked in the previous hour about how, the whole Bernie Sanders juggernaut from 10 plus years ago, that didn't come out of nowhere either. Bernie Sanders is the poster child for so many of these kids who are in their late 20s, have never worked a day in their lives. And rather than saying, I'm going to make different decisions and, pull myself up by my bootstraps, I am going to blame the system. Bernie Sanders didn't work all the way up until he was 40 years old in any sort of work for a living job. You know what his first job was? It was the mayor of Burlington, Vermont at 40 years old. This guy's been railing against the system his whole life because he didn't succeed in the system. I mean, he eventually did by trying to tear down the system and people following him because he's trying to tear down the system and selling books. He has 3 homes now. Capitalism's been really, really good to Bernie Sanders. But these kids who live in big city America who haven't done anything in their lives yet except for go into extreme debt from getting an advanced degree in college and then being, brainwashed by so many of these leftist professors, and then coming out and rather than saying, maybe I should work for a living, maybe I should do something that benefits society in some way, and my employer can give me money in exchange for that labor. No, they decide we're going to tear it all down. We want to just tear down the entire way that our government is set up. Let's get rid of the whole Senate. You can't do that, by the way. You can't get rid of, there's no legislation that could be passed in Congress that would get rid of the U.S. Senate. It's in the Constitution itself. It cannot be amended to get rid of the Senate. It's part of the whole structure of our government. Anyway, we played a clip from Jesse Waters last hour. I want you to hear this slightly longer monologue from Greg Gutfeld on the same topic.
But I get the sense, we keep hearing the word estrangement, people being estranged from their families. I think we're seeing people who are estranged from life. They were faced with a choice early on, financial security or social clout. And they chose prestige over paychecks. But then they realized the jobs aren't there. They got the college debt. They've got no skills, but they're still desperate to maintain that social status that they thought they would get from that degree. So instead of saving for a down payment on a house, because that's square, you go to Pilates, therapy, fancy vacations. You still spend this money, but it's not going into the savings. And then, like you say, they see the guy from their high school who didn't go to college showing off his boat on Instagram, and suddenly they want to burn it all down because that's just not fair, as you would say. And worse, all these people live near rich people. And man, that drives up the envy because you got to keep up with technology, entertainment, organics, streaming services. You got to know what's going on. You got to be part of the conversation. You got to keep up. You got to go to the gallery openings. And what happens is, while they're spending all this money on all this stuff, they've rejected the free stuff that makes your life happy and possible no matter where you are, which is, believe it or not, marriage, kids, staying in touch with your family, getting to know your neighbors, a community. None of that exists in this world. So they end up paying for stuff that their parents got for free. They are estranged from life. And while these overeducated and undervalued elites, see their less educated, less therapied peers excel, it drives them crazy.
Yeah, it drives them absolutely crazy. And this is part of the frustration that makes them, rather than question their own decisions about life, question the whole entire system. Robert in Bloomingdale, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Are you there, Robert?
In its history, in Germany, Hitler first went after the communists, and a lot of them were Jewish, like they are here, like Bernie and Chuck Schumer. They were communists. Now, were the communists the good guys in Germany, or were the Nazis the good guys, or were they just all bad, You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, Robert in Bloomingdale. Bob in Buffalo Grove, you're on AM 560, The Answer.
Good talking to you, Mr. Coolidge. I've got two topics. One is thank you for mentioning how great Dan Proft is, but I do have issues with him, and you're pointing him out. He doesn't play any sound bites from the five. And where is he with regards to any media personality that he really likes? Second, your previous caller just addressed another topic. Let me just point out, and I've touched the third rail here. DSA and the National Socialist Party of 1920s and 30s Germany. Are there any comparisons?
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about the rise of the Third Reich?
Yes. Some of the stuff that they did. They had a charismatic leader, and people don't realize it. He took control with just a little over 1/3 of the vote.
The National Socialists of America. Yeah, it's always dangerous to, of course, the left. Thank you so much, Bob, by the way, from Buffalo Grove. It's always dangerous to bring up the Hitler word in debates. They say as soon as you bring that up, you've lost the debate. But you can talk about history, and you can talk about parallels, and the fact that the Nazi Party in Germany came to power with 26 something like that % of the vote. It wasn't they never had the majority of the country. They just had a small portion of it because there were multiple political parties of that time. And forget about just National Socialists for a second, which is what Nazis are or were. The idea that you don't need to be a majority of the population to enact your will. And the leftists and the communists right now know that. I mean, look, we're talking about them. The whole world is talking about them. You tune on MS Now, as they call it now, Fox News Channel. These new Democrats in New York City, they're not even Democrats. You know, this one, I think DCA is her name, or DAC. She's an outward communist. This Hassan Piker character who wears Chairman Mao garb. Whatever happened to the late 60s, the Beatles, of all people, the Beatles, this subversive group from Liverpool who people didn't like, you know, a lot of the prudes in the United States didn't like because they wore long hair. Even John Lennon, Mr. Hippie Peacenik himself, said in Revolution, if you go carrying around pictures of Chairman Mao, you ain't going to make it with anyone anyhow. Saying, whoa, guys, slow down here. Like, if you're talking about destruction, count me out. You're talking about violence, count me out. I ain't a part of this. I know he did another version where he said in, but I think that was more of a wink in John Lennon being John Lennon. Point is, where are the people right now on the left saying, hey, let's pump the brakes here? They're few and far between. You hear him from people like Bill Maher, who said his vote is up for grabs for someone like J.D. Vance, definitely for Marco Rubio. Bill Maher, a guy who gave $1 million to Obama and $1 million to Biden and is, you know, Mr. Democrat. He said, if this is the route they're going, my vote's up for grabs. And I'm telling you, this is why I think Republicans need to pay attention to this, not out of fear that we're going to become a communist country. I mean, rubbing our hands together here as like political strategy. There are Democrat moderates and independents and people like, I shouldn't even say James Carville, people who listen to people like James Carville. There are a lot more of them than you think. And they are the types that say, you know what? This stuff is just a little bit too crazy for me. Did they not know Mao Zedong killed anywhere between 40 and 80 million people in his reign in communist China? Did they not know what Vladimir Lenin did? Also killing tens of millions of people in his reign in Russia, or the Soviet Union, I should say. Renee has a comment about Lenin from Barrington. Go ahead, Renee.
Yes, hi, good morning. Yeah, I actually just researched this. I use Grok a lot. And in 1917, Lenin had to get rid of the local police, the Tsar police and the local police, in order to install a militia. He campaigned against them. He said they were oppressors. This is why, and now it makes sense to me, this defund the police effort by the left.
Yeah. It's not even just defund the police now, you know. It's let's get rid of the police, jails, and our justice system entirely. They're literally saying that. Thank you, Renee, by the way, from Barrington. They're literally saying that. So many people, again, not just far left fringe people running for city council in a hyper blue borough of New York City. We're talking about people running for Congress and winning. This DAC character is going to be a member of Congress come January, and she's going to have a platform. She's a Hassan, she's definitely an Hassan Piker accolade. Mamdani Glover, AOC. This new congresswoman from New York, soon to be, says that AOC isn't liberal enough for her. And again, this doesn't necessarily worry me that our country is going to become communist. I have way more faith in the American people. What I'm saying is I don't mind putting a spotlight on this, sunlight being the best disinfectant, because it's going to move some moderate Democrats to the middle. And yes, fill in the circle for the R candidates in November if they're reminded that this is the direction the Democrat Party is going. Are you on board with that? Middle of the road, independent Democrats? We'll be right back on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer, Mike Coolidge in for Dan Proft.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one. Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1862, Abraham Lincoln signed the Morrill Act, helping states create colleges focused on agriculture, mechanics, science, and practical education. The principle was not centralized control, it was opportunity. Lincoln's Morrill Act reminds us that America can support education without surrendering education to Washington. Why did it matter? Because a free nation needs citizens equipped to work, build, steward, and govern themselves. Scripture gives work a sacred weight. In Genesis, God placed man in the garden to work it and to keep it. Proverbs honors the one who works his land. Paul warns against idleness and calls believers to earn their bread. Why does that still matter today? Because education should form capable people under God, not dependent subjects under bureaucracy.
You know that feeling when you call your insurance company and you know that you're getting put into queue? Nobody wants to go through that, specifically Tommy and TJ Iaquinta with Class A Insurance. They're a father and son team built right here in Chicago's southwest suburbs on one idea: treat people like family. See, because they're independent, they're not stuck in pushing one company policy on you, one company rates on you. They shop the best carriers in the country, names you'd recognize, and find coverage that actually fits your life, your home, your car, even your boat and motorcycle. That's why they've been named one of the top 25 home insurance agencies in Chicago. 2 generations, 1 agency. And clients that stick with them for years. When something happens and claims happen, Tommy or TJ is the one who picks up the phone and walks you through the process themselves. If you're paying for a policy you don't understand from a company you never talk to, it's simple. Head to 560insurance.com. That's 560insurance.com. Get a free quote in minutes at 560insurance.com.
Time's up. The IRS isn't waiting. They're coming for your paycheck, your bank account, even your home. You ignored the letters. You thought it would go away. It won't. If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, you are already in the crosshairs of the IRS. Wage garnishments, bank levies, tax liens, they're not threats. They're next. But here's the truth. You still have a chance to fight back. This is Patrick Noon with PJN Tax Solutions Group. We are a local tax resolution firm located right here in St. Charles, Illinois. Don't call some 1-800-FIRM 10 states away. We're right here. Call us now at 630-415-5296. We don't do fluff. We get results. Call us now, 630-415-5296. That number again, 630-415-5296. Or just Google, I want the IRS off my ASS.
How many times are you going to walk into that outdated bathroom and think, I really need a bathroom makeover? Stop putting it off and transform your bathroom and your life in as little as one day with a beautiful, affordable shower makeover from Jacuzzi Bath Remodel. Choose from custom designs tailored to your budget and style, including safety-focused features for beauty and peace of mind.
I've had a great experience from start to finish. The crew that came in, they were so professional. This looks like a marble, beautiful, new shower, and it was done all in one day.
Right now, we're waiving all installation costs, plus offering no interest and no payments for up to 1 year. Call now to schedule your free design consultation and quote. Call 800-384-3318. That's 800-384-3318. Call 800-384-3318. With purchase and installation, financing through third-party lenders, subject to credit approval. No interest and no payments if paid in full within 12 months. Charge from purchase date if not paid in full. Not all will qualify. Call dealer for details.
AM 560, The Answer.
But if you go carrying pictures of Chairman Mao, you ain't gonna make it with anyone anyhow. Don't you know it's gonna be all right?
George from Naperville, you're on AM 560, The Answer. What's your question on this open line Friday?
Mike, thank you for filling in for Dan. Do you think you can give us some updates how he's doing on the golf course?
Well, I understand he's playing with his nephew, and his nephew said he wanted a hot dog and he wanted a hamburger. Do you know what Dan responded to him with? George, do you know what he responded to him with?
No,
he said, you'll get nothing and like it. We turn it over now into the newsroom with Mike Scott.
It was 5 under par. In the QC Kinetics newsroom this morning, Des Plaines officials are calling a condo building fire from a few months ago an arson.
Evidence indicates gasoline was used as the accelerant, and investigators determined it was poured throughout the hallways, common areas, and stairwells.
Fire leaders say Tanner Bramali, who is accused of setting that fire, died in the blaze. 15 were hurt. The building remains uninhabitable. More than 1.5 million cartons of eggs are being recalled because of possible salmonella contamination.
The FDA says the voluntary recall was put out by Midwest Poultry Services for brown and white shell eggs. The eggs were sold under several brands in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, New Mexico, and Mississippi, with labeling including Kroger's, Brookshire's, Country Morning, Simple Truth, and Sunups, along with a number of bulk grade A and grade AA egg cartons. No illnesses have been reported. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
Imports from more than 80 countries are now subject to new tariffs. The White House says new tariffs are tied to the imports of goods made with forced labor. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says Iran will pay for attacking U.S. forces.
I saw Arachi, their foreign minister, who the other day say or something about their policies, an eye for an eye. The president's policy is a head for an eye. I mean, honestly, that's what it's going to be. I mean, they will pay a very heavy price for the things they're doing. They're already paying a very heavy price.
A Minnesota man will spend life behind bars for the killing and wounding of state lawmakers and their families.
We're just glad that it's over and he's going to prison forever and he won't hurt someone else.
And it's over, but it's never over. And, well, you know, she was a force and her husband was a wonderful man, and the world is a poorer place without them both.
A federal court handed down 2 life sentences for Vance Belter. The 59-year-old shot and killed Minnesota State Democrat Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark, in June of 2025. A violent evening and overnight in the city of Chicago, where 1 man is dead and 2 gunmen opened fire on him and a teen boy on the west side. The 13-year-old is in good condition this morning at Stroger Cook County Hospital. A man and woman died after they were found shot inside of a car late Thursday evening near the campus of the University of Chicago. And a man was killed, a woman hurt in a drive-by shooting near Promontory Point in the Hyde Park neighborhood. That shooting took place around 11:15 in the 5400 block of South Shore Drive. Chicago sports. Cubs open up a 7-game road trip tonight in Pittsburgh. The AL Central leading White Sox are back home hosting Houston. And the Blackhawks reunite with franchise icon Patrick Kane. Bears rookies report this week. Veterans early next week. The news, a service of Steiner Homes. Building homes is more than a business. It's a calling. Family-owned and dedicated to building custom homes with care, integrity, and craftsmanship you can trust. Visit SteinerHomesLTD.com, Northwest Indiana's leading home builder. Traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Alex Marlow sees the true colors.
The left really hates this country, and now you're seeing them openly advocate for things that are just deeply anti-American, just in terms of all of our founding principles. We're a many one type of country. It's on every coin, and that's where they're at, and they want to gerrymander based on race, and it's the Republicans who are saying you can't do that in Louisiana. I feel like I've been witnessing this my entire adult life, but I feel like now they're announcing it.
The Alex Marlow Show, afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
If you're watching the market, you may know that gold has pulled back more than 20% from its recent highs. Silver has fallen even further. History shows that this could be the perfect time to diversify your retirement portfolio to include precious metals like gold and silver. In crisis after crisis over the last 50 years, gold fell first, then surged to new highs as the crisis unfolded. That's why Advantage Gold wants to send you a free gold investment guide valued at $49, plus a free copy of economist Ken Rogoff's best-selling book, Our Dollar, Your Problem, when you call 800-900-8000. In today's market, government debt has exploded to nearly $40 trillion, and central banks around the world continue buying gold at record levels. The smart money sees opportunity. If you're considering diversifying a retirement account with precious metals, tax and penalty-free, now is the best time to call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Results vary. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
A riddle brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. It was an easy riddle. Learn more at progressive.com.
6:36 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. A service of Rock Auto. Lakeshore Drive, 2 right lanes blocked as you're traveling northbound. Right at the Stevenson Expressway, you have solid traffic from 31st. It's a motorcycle crash. An accident as well on the Tri-State this morning. A right lane block southbound after Russell Road. In Indiana, eastbound 94 jammed up at the Porter-LaPorte County line due to a stalled semi with a right shoulder block. And in Wakanda this morning, traffic signals flashing red at Rand Road and Old Rand Road. Grinding and squealing are signs to you that it's time for new brakes. Skip the hassle of searching for the right parts and shop rockauto.com. Find trusted name brand parts at lower prices, shipped directly to your door. All the parts you will ever need at Rock Auto. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. And up next, we'll check the forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center. Another beautiful day, sunny and 80 today, clear to partly cloudy overnight with a low of 65.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hour is brought to you by Retirement Decoded with Scott Tucker and Amy Jacobson. Heard Sunday mornings from 7 to 9 a.m. Learn more at retirementdecoded.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Yes, it is. AM 560, The Answer. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft. I am not Dan Proft. I am Mike Coolidge, but a gigantic fan of this radio program. I listen every day. I'm listening right now, like you are. Yeah. So prices of healthcare. It's a big question mark always. You go in to see a doctor. You can't have a market of anything without prices. It's a major reason why healthcare is such a mess. We don't know the prices. Nobody knows what anything costs when you go into the dentist or, your nurse practitioner or whomever, even though the vast majority of medical services are not emergencies. in President Trump's first term, he took this problem on by mandating that hospitals that participate in Medicare and Medicaid, all of them do, of course, post their prices. Sent out a mandate for it. But compliance was poor, and under President Joe Biden, there was little enforcement. I'm paraphrasing here from a piece that Stephen Moore and our next guest, Phil Kerpen, wrote in Washington Examiner and on American Commitment, where he is the president of, he's on the show regularly. Phil Kerpen, welcome on to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, my pleasure. Great to be with you, Mike.
Yes, always love your segments. I also see, and I'm going to talk to you later on if we have time, about a very terrible topic, which is our shared love of the New York Mets. We're both Mets fans.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. That's
one of the worst, if not the worst teams in baseball. Yeah, we're gonna bore our listeners if we start getting into that. But a lot of our listeners, being White Sox fans, are thrilled about their comeback. I don't know that the Mets have that in their future. Anyway, prices for medical costs. What is going on now with this mandate that President Trump tried to enact in his first term? Biden didn't do anything about it. Where are we at in Trump's second term?
Well, they have sent out some letters saying that they're going to start issuing fines. The problem is that the fines that they can issue under the current law are they're pretty small. I mean, they can do like $1 million, $2 million fines, stuff like that. Now, that sounds like a lot of money to me and you. To these gigantic hospital systems, it's not that much, and they're probably going to fight even those. And so we really need a better law. We need a better transparency law from Congress. It's very hard to get anything out of Congress these days, but I will say, at least at the committee level, we've now got pretty good transparency laws that have passed out of committee, both in the House and Senate. Now, whether we can get them to the floor, whether you can get the votes, get past filibuster, all of that, I don't know. I don't know if that's actually going to be possible. But there is some cause for optimism, which is Chuck Schumer got sort of caught red-handed, and the man's apparently more capable of shame than I thought, because it was reported that he told the big hospital systems in New York that they had a veto over anything he did, and he would never sign on to any bill that they hadn't approved. And after it was reported, suddenly he was willing to do health care legislation. I think he was a little bit embarrassed that was reported. And so it may be possible that we could see some legislation that would strengthen it. I really prefer that they make it the simplest possible bill in the world that just says if you aren't told the price before you receive a medical service, you don't have to pay for it. I guarantee if they pass that, there would be a price for everything.
Yeah, that's great. I was just going to say, I mean, why not increase the fines substantially? Put a zero after the fines. But I like your idea better. Say if they don't tell you the price, it's like an old fast food thing. If we don't say service with a smile or say it's my pleasure, you get it for free. Well, that should apply to healthcare too.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that would be the best way to do it. But it does look like, if they do a bill, it will increase fines and have other things in there. I don't think it's going to have what I just suggested, although, we're going to push for that. But look, I mean, here's what I've been telling the hospitals, because they've been fighting transparency tooth and nail. And I'm just telling them, you're going to get something worse. If you don't give us prices, you're going to end up with price controls, which are going to be much worse for everyone, because the state-level politicians in a lot of states now are just putting caps. They're just putting price caps on. They're saying, we're done. You can't charge more than 200% of Medicare, whatever it is. And we've now got that in, I think, Michigan and Indiana, and there are a few other states that are looking at it. And I think that's the wrong solution, by the way, because price caps, price controls, when you put them in, you think they're a ceiling. They end up being a floor over time. You misallocate resources. I want a functioning market. I don't want politicians setting prices. But if they keep stalling and blocking and preventing us from having any kind of functioning, market with real choice and competition, we're going to end up with something worse. I mean, that's what I really fear.
How do you see, because I remember this debate back during Obamacare's fight, and it was a solution that many people said, we need to know the prices of our care. I went into a dermatologist not too long ago, and there was something somewhat minuscule she needed to remove from my arm, and she said, I don't know if insurance is going to cover this. It's kind of a vanity thing. I'll do it. I said, all right, well, I mean, what if I paid out of pocket? She's like, I'll do it for $50. I'm like, what? I'm like, yes, absolutely. And I'm like, and I know I have.
Amazing sometimes it is amazing sometimes how much better prices you can get when you pay cash and you just pay directly as opposed to going through insurance and the bureaucracies and all of that. What I've started doing, sometimes when you go to the pharmacy counter and they surprise you and they tell you your generic is like $60 or something, I say, what I started doing, I say, okay, well, can you give me a better price than that if I pay, if I just pay cash, we don't run it through insurance? And I'll be like, oh yeah, then it's $20. And then I started thinking, how can you charge so much less? They say, oh, well, we actually make more money on a cash pay, even though we charge less, because when we do an insurance pay, the insurance company makes us send the money to them.
I mean, this is just such a basic tenet of economics, right? If you subsidize something, the price is going to go up. Or in this case, if you don't say what the price is, and it's something that people need, I mean, for life or death things, I mean, the price can be anything, which is why you can get $400 bills for prescriptions that maybe cost $4. So, I mean, I know you talked about the legislative part of this already, but what do you have any optimism if, let's say, God forbid, the Democrats take over one of the branches of Congress after November, that this is going to be dead and nothing's going to change? Or is this something that President Trump could do an executive order on, like with fines and whatnot?
Well, as I mentioned, he did an executive order in his first term. He did another one this time. So there is a push in the administration to try to get more price transparency. The challenge is that we've got a lot of noncompliance. And so, we'll see. Look, they are saying they're going to issue more fines, so we'll see if they're able to get better compliance, but I think a stronger law would help a lot. And, as I mentioned, there has been some movement, House and Senate. So, I don't have much optimism about Congress doing anything this year on anything, but this looks like an area where maybe there's a possibility. Could it be bipartisan in a future Congress where Democrats control it? I mean, it's not impossible. I mean, we're talking a 90% issue. People think you should know what things cost. I mean, it's a pretty basic thing. So I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I would say everything Democrats have done in healthcare for the last couple of decades has been in the direction of less information, less competition, less choice, more government control, more power in the giant insurance companies. And so it would be a reversal of sorts for them to move in the direction of markets. But, as I said, it's like a 90% issue. So, politicians like to get in front of parades sometimes. So I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it would be challenging. But I think we've got to get this. There are few ingredients that we really need to get done, and we could have huge improvements in how healthcare functions in this country. You've got to have prices. That's number one. That's critical. You can't have a market without them. We need to have a lot more competition and choice. It needs to be much easier to open an independent physicians group, imaging center, clinic, surgical center, and so forth. There are a lot of federal payment policies and tax policies that have really benefited these giant health systems. I'd like to see those corrected so that we can have a lot more new entrants and a lot more independence. So if you have more competition and choice and you've got prices, then the last ingredient you need is people to control their healthcare dollars. And that means not all the money should flow directly to insurance companies from employers or from government programs. If the money's in an account that you own and control, you've got lots of choice of providers who compete with each other, and you've got prices, then you'll have all the elements for a functioning market. And I think we'll have much better healthcare quality and much better prices. So that's the vision that we're trying to push. And everything I just said is 85 to 90% popular with the public. So,
I don't know.
We can generate a little pressure. Maybe it's not impossible.
I don't know if that's high enough. I mean, we have the same amount of people that believe we should have to show a picture ID when we vote. That's upwards of 80%, but somehow it doesn't become law. 90%. I don't know. We need to get it to 95%. You need to show a photo ID to get the endless pasta bowl at Olive Garden now. Yeah, exactly. They have a stricter policy than our democracy here in the United States as far as proving who you are. Phil Kerpen, you can find him on X at Kerpen, Kerpen. And lastly, before we let you go, do you have any? I know you don't have a lot of optimism about this becoming law, or at least a world where we know the prices of our healthcare immediately. Do you have any optimism that the Mets are going to finish 500 this year?
No. Are you still watching the games, though? That's the question.
you know then things are bad when I stop checking the box scores in the morning. You know, I did for the last 4 or 5 years, and I stopped doing it.
It's so bad. I still turn it on most nights. So there's something wrong with it. My brother asks, "What are you doing?" I say, "I don't know. I don't know. It's so bad."
Well, the Red Sox had, what, a 15-game hitting streak? So hope springs eternal.
Yeah, there's no giant winning streak coming to save us. I promise you that.
Phil Kerpen, have a great weekend. Let's go Mets, I guess. And thanks for coming on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Bye.
We will be right back on AM 560. The Answer. Mike Coolidge in for Dan Proft. Don't go anywhere.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Anthony and John here from Bionic Auto Parts, proud clients of Signature Bank. We deliver high-quality, recycled and remanufactured auto parts to Chicago and Milwaukee. Our mission is simple: provide parts safely, reliably, with great customer satisfaction.
We process over 350 vehicles a month. With big banks, everything took forever. Layers of approvals and endless delays. At Signature Bank, one call got it done. Whether it's lending, deposits, or treasury management, they deliver fast. Signature Bank made us feel like family. That's a partnership we deeply appreciate.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Have you been watching gold and silver lately? Hard to ignore. Back in January of 2025, silver was under $30 an ounce, and now it's more than doubled. Again, not bad, right? Some experts say this bull market is just getting started. Others say it's a good time to take some money off the table. Either way, whether you're buying or selling, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is the place to go. They stock large quantities of all the major bullion coins and bars. And here's what sets them apart. Unlike places that only pay melt value, Fox Valley Coins pays more for high-grade coins and scarcer dates. That's real money left in your pocket. They also buy scrap sterling flatware, jewelry, silver-plated items, and old proof sets. And they specialize in U.S. and foreign collector and investment coins and currency, both buying and selling. Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at Ferry Road in Naperville. Family-owned with integrity since 1981.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1862, Abraham Lincoln signed the Morrill Act, helping states create colleges focused on agriculture, mechanics, science, and practical education. The principle was not centralized control, it was opportunity. Lincoln's Morrill Act reminds us that America can support education without surrendering education to Washington. Why did it matter? Because a free nation needs citizens equipped to work, build, steward, and govern themselves. Scripture gives work a sacred weight. In Genesis, God placed man in the garden to work it and to keep it. Proverbs honors the one who works his land. Paul warns against idleness and calls believers to earn their bread. Why does that still matter today? Because education should form capable people under God, not dependent subjects under bureaucracy.
AM 560, The Answer.
Yes, this somewhat sad minor key music is appropriate for the off-air discussion we're having about not just being a Mets fan, but being a Jets fan. A team that I've never seen in the Super Bowl. I don't want to hear any whining from White Sox or Cubs or Bears or Packers fans, really, about how terrible your team is. My two teams, the Mets and Jets, haven't won any championships since 1986. The Mets, the Jets haven't won anything in my lifetime. You have to go back to the 60s before they were, it's the only time they were ever in the Super Bowl. I love the Bears. I root for the Bears. My team's the Jets, though. The Bears, I mean, what? They're reporting for summer camp here really soon. And this is the most exciting, offseason there's been in years for the Bears. That run they had last year was just phenomenal. And, Indiana's going to be lucky to have them. So I want to play this other clip here before we go to break that I have ready to go from still on this topic of how the left and where the left is going. And this is something Dan talks about a lot where, and this is a little pessimistic, is you would think, and it used to be when a Democrat politician did something embarrassing or got caught not paying attention to, I don't know, fraud or, the crime skyrockets or an investigation happens that shows that under their stewardship, under their watch, tens of millions of dollars was, going down the drain. Often politicians would quit in shame. They'd resign in shame and say, I'm sorry about this. And then good people would come in. I think just yesterday, Greg Gutfeld brought that up and brought up the city of Chicago and your very own Brandon Johnson.
I'm constantly amazed that Tim Walz is still governor because it's like, it's not enough just to let him say, I'm not running again. That's just too easy. I remember the era of the shamed politician, the one who resigns because of the awful things that have happened. If this were Japan, you know what he would do. Yep. He'd move to China. But anyway, and then ideally the people that root out the corruption, they would swoop in. They'd have a seat at the table. They'd get a chance to fix things. But if you ever notice this, even when you get rid of the corruption, it doesn't matter. Look at Chicago. We were like, oh, finally, Lori Lightfoot's out. What a scam. And then who do they bring in? Lori Lightfoot with, but less masculine, Brandon Johnson. It's like, it doesn't matter. And it makes me think, I think the goal here is to overwhelm you with incompetence, corruption, and bad policy. So you kind of just get used to it. It's like, does anybody care what Brandon Johnson's doing anymore? And I bring him up because when Walz goes, what's going to be put in that place? When
Amy Klobuchar.
Exactly.
She'd be amazing.
And please. And then you have Gavin Newsom, or who I like to refer to as Ellis from Die Hard. If he goes away, you get this other guy, Becerra. What's his name?
Becerra.
Whatever. Do you think he's going to be on the up and up? Of course not. You need somebody who believes in oversight. And the only people that believe in oversight are Republicans, unfortunately, which is why these infrastructures, whether it's these social programs or homelessness or whatever, they don't like Republicans because we like to look at the numbers.
Right. And this is what happened. This is Greg Gutfeld on the 5 yesterday. And this is what happens when the death spiral of good people start leaving cities like Chicago and they start moving to the suburbs or elsewhere. And the only voting bloc left in a city like Chicago is Democrats who aren't paying attention and far, far leftists and neo-Marxists like Brandon Johnson. And there's no check on them. There's no punishment for terrible governance. I heard Brandon Johnson, I think on yesterday's show, saying he doesn't know whether or not he's running for re-election. I mean, that shouldn't even be under consideration, him running for re-election. And the people running against him should be all about fixing the mess that he and Lori Lightfoot, his predecessor, created before. But is that going to happen? Or is it going to be someone even less? I think Dan said he wants to check in with the teachers unions. That they haven't given him his marching orders yet as to whether or not he's running for re-election in Chicago. I love Chicago so much. It was my home for many years, my wife's as well, before we moved out to small town America in northern Illinois, which we love very much. And I don't miss the governance at all of Chicago. But whenever we go in, I still love it. It's my favorite city in the world. It's clean. It's beautiful. The architecture, people are great, but it's absolutely only in the last decade, even when I'm in the Magnificent Mile area, am I always looking over my shoulder? It is not a safe place to be compared to what it used to be. They are draining the state's coffers, let alone their own. And who is going to run against Brandon Johnson? Who is going to be the knight in shining armor? Is there one? Or is it going to be somebody even further to the left than them, whoever the teachers' unions pick? I don't know. We are going to be back with somebody in the next hour who might be a check on how our state spends money on things. Brian Drew, running for comptroller. This is AM 560, The Answer, WIND Chicago.
Not enough pain. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. There have been 13 straight nights of airstrikes in Iran, and President Trump says he might order a major attack, telling Axios Iran has not received enough pain yet.
He is seriously considering restarting major combat operations in Iran, including strikes that would be bigger than the ones carried out in Operation Epic Fury. He says, I am considering a massive attack bigger than ever before. I am close to making a decision. We are all set for it. Iran, though, has refused to capitulate despite the strikes. It rejected a U.S. ceasefire deal presented by Iraq. Iranian and Iraqi officials tell the New York Times. The sticking point was reportedly over the Strait of Hormuz. Tehran's not interested in a temporary deal that leaves that issue unresolved.
It's Fox's Madeline Rivera. As it was in 2024, immigration is shaping up to be a polarizing topic for voters in the midterm elections. Fox's Bill Malugin has more.
Now that the border's quiet, the conversation has shifted to what should be done about the millions of illegal immigrants already here. And some Democrats want immigration enforcement ended entirely. More migrant crime is back in the headlines. A Salvadoran illegal immigrant is now charged with felony hit and run causing serious injury or death after police say he killed 3 people in a crash in North Carolina on Saturday, then tried to flee the scene. But new Fox News polling reveals Democrats are gaining serious ground on immigration after getting destroyed on the topic in 2024. When asked which party would handle immigration better right now, Democrats now have a 1-point lead over Republicans, 50 to 49%.
Republicans had an 8-point lead over Democrats on immigration in the Fox News polling in April. President Trump's replacing tariffs that expired today with new ones, 10 to 12.5% on imports from 60 countries accused of inadequately enforcing bans on goods produced by forced labor. America's listening to Fox News.
.64 degrees. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott in the QC Kinetics newsroom. One man is dead after 2 gunmen opened fire on him and a teen boy on the west side. It happened last night as the 49-year-old and a 13-year-old were sitting inside a vehicle in the 3800 block of West Adams. A man and woman died after they were found shot inside of a car. It happened Thursday evening on the campus of the University of Chicago in the 5900 block of South Ellis. Chicago police say it was a 24-year-old man and 27-year-old woman who were found inside of a vehicle, both taken to nearby University of Chicago Hospital in critical condition and later died from those injuries. Chicago City Council is on summer break, but still, City Hall had its share of fireworks yesterday. The debate over advisory referendums scheduled for the November and February ballots.
The legal counsel, I think, shows the independence of the legal counsel, but also has shown the lack of integrity of some people who continue to block the millionaire tax.
Alderman Byron Sigjo Lopez, backed by Mayor Brandon Johnson on that millionaire tax advisory, which will not be on the February ballot, and that escalated tensions.
The body cannot establish its own independent legal counsel without the authority being granted by the state of Illinois. That is the law. Sure. It's not about whether or not the question should be asked.
So for clarity, that'd be the same criteria for a millionaire's tax.
Alderman Vasquez and Mayor Johnson then strongly went back and forth. Mayor later, after reporters denied losing control now of a majority of the city council, Alderman Matt O'Shea disagreed.
Every one of these votes the mayor went down on today because
The general public has lost faith in him. City council does not trust him. This situation is only going to get worse these next several months.
Chicago sports. Cubs open up a 7-game road trip tonight against the Pirates. AL Central leading White Sox home to Houston. Bears rookies report tomorrow at Hallis Hall, while veterans report next week. The news, a service of the AM 560 store. T-shirts, hoodies, and more when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Fest returns on August 28th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. Be a part of a live, on-location broadcast of The Sean Thompson Show, including a performance of the national anthem, followed by live music, food, drinks, and an opportunity to meet Sean Thompson. Registration is free. Go to 560theanswer.com/SeanFest. That's 560theanswer.com/SHAUN Fest. Sponsored in part by Class A Insurance, owned by Thomas Iacetta.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
7:07 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. For our friends in Beach Park this morning, Green Bay Road and Kenosha Road tied up with an accident. Villa Park, an accident. Ardmore and St. Charles. On the expressways and toll roads, we see an accident on the Tri-State. Southbound just after Russell Road. Problems this morning as you travel on the Kennedy. We're eyeballing delays Canfield to Foster on the inbound side. Traffic, a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Download the app, 560theanswer.com/mobile. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, and up next, we'll check the forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today will be pleasant with plenty of sunshine and a few clouds, reaching a high of 80. Tonight will be clear to partly cloudy with a low of 65. Tomorrow, expect increased humidity with a mix of clouds and sunshine and a high of 82. By Sunday, it will be humid with intervals of sunshine and a high of 90. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering 24/7 security solutions for homes and businesses. Call them today at 708-889-5600.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Greetings. Happy Friday. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer, with Dan Proft. We are all without Dan Proft today. He will be back on Monday. He is currently chasing the white ball, as he said on yesterday's show. And you are listening to Mike Coolidge. That's me, Koolidge. It's the first time I'm filling in on a Friday, open line Friday. And yes, we will later on be opening up the phone lines to any questions or comments you have at 312-642-5600. But let us talk now about the state of Illinois and the state of Illinois. You know, there's a bunch of different things that could happen this fall after the elections are over. The ideal, great situation is that all of the Republican candidates running win. And we've got a Republican governor and a Republican secretary of state and a Republican comptroller and a Republican treasurer and, heck, a Republican in the U.S. Senate. I know I'm forgetting one. Secretary of State, treasurer, governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general. That's right. Bob Fioretti. That would be awesome. Is that going to happen, or are we going to run the slate? I wouldn't bet on it, but it is not out of the question that we could win a couple of those statewide races, maybe one or two, maybe even three. And one of the ones that I would bet on being successful is the comptroller's race. Yeah. Now, a lot of people don't even know we have a comptroller. Some people call it the comptroller. But it's a really important position. And because no one really pays attention to it, it's not out of the question that a Republican could sneak in. Yeah, and even be a Republican comptroller if, God forbid, the Democrat character called J.B. Pritzker somehow wins re-election. Yeah, you could have a Republican comptroller and a Democrat governor. Ideally, it's a Republican governor and a Republican comptroller. But what is the comptroller? What is the purpose of it? And why might it have more power than you think over even, yes, a Democrat governor? Joining us on the phone right now is a man who wants to be your next comptroller, Brian Drew, Republican from Benton, Illinois. Brian Drew, welcome on to Chicago's Morning Answer.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yes. I've met you many times, and everyone I talk with is really impressed with your campaign. You've got a very vibrant and robust social media presence, and you're all over the state all the time with your lovely family. Benton, Illinois is way downstate for those of us in northern Illinois, but that doesn't stop you from making it up to Chicago and to Rockford and to, Rochelle, even in various areas. But let's get into the comptroller's office. Why does it matter more than people realize?
You know, a lot of people don't realize that all this massive government spending that goes on in Illinois flows through that office. And when you look at that office, you know, currently the Democrats hold a supermajority in the legislature, the governor's mansion, and the auditor general. So basically, Illinois has no checks and balances in government spending. And if we're just going to let one party handle it all, you know, why would we even have a comptroller? The comptroller is supposed to be, you know, a watchdog for the taxpayers, you know, not just a simple rubber stamp for government spending.
So what could the comptroller do if he were to see that government spending is completely, off the rails, or even, corrupt, and the courts aren't doing anything about it?
As it relates to, fraud in government contracts, the comptroller has an opportunity to stop that. You can absolutely put a stop to it. When it comes to waste, you get to expose it, and you can show that to all the taxpayers of this state. Here's where your money's going, and they deserve that. You know, transparency isn't something that's hard to do, but it hasn't been done, and we really need that in Illinois government. The taxpayers work really hard for their money. They should get to know exactly where their money's going.
One of the reasons that a lot of people think that you have a pretty decent shot here is that your opponent isn't really adept at raising money, and she doesn't have the backing of the current comptroller. Tell our listeners why.
Well, the current controller didn't take any campaign dollars from the governor because the controller is supposed to be the check on the governor and the legislature and their spending, to be that check and balance in government. But my opponent has taken the maximum contributions from the governor's office, as well as a lot of people who have contracts and work with the state. And the controller really has to be an independent person, has to be that watchdog, not simply a rubber stamp. And so, my opponent's just not the right person for this job. Not to mention my opponent was a legislator, voted for all of these budgets, all of the spending, and now says, I want to be the controller, the person to supervise that and talk about how the money's being spent. And that's just not, it's like checking your own homework. That's
right.
She's already approved all the spending. Now she wants to tell you where it's right or wrong. You already approved it. That's not the job. And so that's why I think I'm much more qualified for this job, because I can be that independent check and balance that frankly the taxpayers deserve and really need.
And talk a little bit about your background. You're a trial lawyer. How does that relate to being a good controller?
Well, for a lot of people, they look at the controller's office and they say, well, I mean, it's an accounting position, but it's really not. It's an accountability position, because that job really is to supervise the money and where it's going and expose that. And for 25 years, I've been in courtrooms asking a lot of tough questions. And now I'm ready to ask those same tough questions about how Springfield and Chicago spends all of our money. Anyone can cut a check, but the comptroller really has to be that check and balance, that watchdog for the taxpayers.
Yeah, I mean, again, listeners, think about this. Put yourself in the shoes of the Democrat running for comptroller, who is a former legislator and is getting gobs and gobs of money from J.B. Pritzker, who also happens to be running for governor, for re-election. Let's say she somehow makes her way into the comptroller's office, and she all of a sudden, I mean, this reminds me a lot of the Supreme Court justice races we had here a couple of years ago that J.B. Pritzker got involved in and gave money to. How can you be an independent arbiter of what the governor is doing if 5 minutes ago you were taking gobs of cash from said governor, let alone a lot of this extreme and profligate spending that Springfield does, you were a part of. You were part of signing yes and all that. That's what the alternative to Brian Drew is as comptroller. You are an outsider, right? You're not a legislator. You haven't been in Springfield, and I mean, or are you are you part of this establishment, Springfield class too, Brian?
I probably couldn't be farther away. I've never held political office, and I've certainly never been a legislator. And on top of it, my opponent, the opening video, it's been taken down since, but the open video had her saying, I stand with J.B. Pritzker. Now, she took it down because the current controller and all of her opponents bashed her for it, because that's not the job. But no, I couldn't be further away from an insider, especially coming from where I'm coming from. So.
Yeah, again, if I could just speak, because I know there are some Democrats and liberals who listen to this radio program. You're going to get all the Republican votes throughout the whole state. That unfortunately, because of the breakdown of the state of Illinois, won't be enough to put a Republican over the top. Any Republican in a statewide office, if only Republicans vote. If you're a self-respecting Democrat or independent out there, and you're just going to vote the whole ticket Democrat, you love J.B. Pritzker, don't you at least want to have him have a check on him? Don't you want somebody in Springfield to say, hold on, wait a second, $10 million is going to X, or, 50, or $2 billion is going to Y? Like, somebody who is not in the pocket of Springfield, somebody who's not in the pocket of the Democrats, of the teachers' unions. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Are you getting massive amounts of money from government unions, Brian Drew?
I've received no money from any government union.
Okay, good. So you're not on the puppet strings like Brandon Johnson is running for or the current mayor of. Yeah. So honestly, if you have any self-respect for how government is run, regardless of what is next to your name, listeners, consider Brian Drew for comptroller. We joked about you being all over the state, you being from super duper southern Illinois, Benton, Illinois, an awesome little town, not much smaller than the town I make my home in, Rochelle. But tell our listeners a little bit about your life and your family and how you found your way to deciding even to run for such an ambitious statewide office like comptroller.
Well, Mike, I live in Benton with my wife, Kristen, and our 4 children. They're 22, 17, 14, and 13. So, we were very busy down there, have some small businesses. I have my law practice. And I just kept watching how the only thing we ever heard out of Springfield and Chicago and the government was that they need more of our money, that they just don't have enough revenue. And yet we have record revenues every single year. And let's not forget, revenue means tax dollars. And that's just not the case. The fact of the matter is that the problem with government right now is we have out of control spending. We have a spending problem. And that's the comptroller's office. That's what should happen there. We should get control over that. And we're never going to make life more affordable in Illinois. We're never going to be able to reduce taxes until we get a control on the spending. And, as a taxpayer, have you heard that, there's hundreds of millions of dollars going to a Chinese superconductor factory that the government, that J.B. Pritzker gave out, or that there's billions going to NGOs that are politically connected, people all over Chicago, all over the state? No. And that's what you need to know. People should be knowing that so they can decide, is that a good spending of our money? When you talked about partisan, the comptroller's office really is the least partisan of all the positions. Mike, when you think about it, when government blows our tax dollars, they're not blowing Democrat or Republican dollars. They're blowing all of our money. And so regardless of what party you're in, shouldn't everyone want a check and balance on government spending? Shouldn't we have just one? And that's what I want to do, and that's what I want to be.
DrewForIllinois.com is the website for Brian Drew. Affordability, accountability, and transparency. Taxpayers deserve a watchdog who will hold politicians accountable for how they spend our tax dollars. He's not running to be a state senator or a state representative, one of 100 or so in Springfield. The comptroller's office is directly voted into by you, the voters, just like the other statewide offices are. He's not part of the staff of the governor. He directly answers to the people, and don't you want a watchdog in? I think it just makes sense in general to have the comptroller be somebody who is not in cahoots in any way, shape, or form with the governor. At least the current one attempted to. No offense, Brian, but I haven't really followed the current office of the current comptroller all that much and all the inner workings of it. But I suspect, that he at least didn't take money from Pritzker is a good sign that he was attempting to be a good watchdog. Your opponent right now is taking it hand over fist and is a former legislator. So, that is a conflict of interest if I've ever seen one. You don't have any of those conflicts of interest. So I think that's definitely a notch on your belt. Is there anything else you'd like to add to our listeners, not just here in the Chicagoland area, but throughout the state of Illinois before we say goodbye?
When you think about this, we've heard for a lot of years that, think about how much revenue they're bringing in, how much money taken in, but do we have more services? Are our roads getting better? Recently they did the CTA bill where they took, a bunch of money of the sales tax, took it away from downstate, which downstate includes everything but the city of Chicago, to prop up the CTA system, which has been run poorly. And what I'd say to everyone is this: Illinois is a great state, and I have been all over it to the tune of about 70,000 miles so far since last August. We burned up one car on the south side of Chicago. I'm actually in Chicago today with some meetings, and I have some events tomorrow. And when you go all over this state, there's great people, there's great industry. We lead the nation in agriculture. We're the crossroads of railroad, of highways. We have everything we need to lead the entire nation. And the only reason we're not is because of government, because of how we're run. That's the only problem with Illinois. And the first way to get control over that and to turn that around is to get control of the spending. And that's what the comptroller is supposed to do. And I'm going to bring that to the state of Illinois. and we desperately need it.
DrewforIllinois.com is the website. Brian Drew, running to be your next comptroller. Brian Drew, thanks so much for coming on to AM 560, The Answer.
Thanks, Mike. I really appreciate it.
We'll be right back.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1862, Abraham Lincoln signed the Morrill Act, helping states create colleges focused on agriculture, mechanics, science, and practical education. The principle was not centralized control, it was opportunity. Lincoln's Morrill Act reminds us that America can support education without surrendering education to Washington. Why did it matter? Because a free nation needs citizens equipped to work, build, steward, and govern themselves. Scripture gives work a sacred weight. In Genesis, God placed man in the garden to work it and to keep it. Proverbs honors the one who works his land. Paul warns against idleness and calls believers to earn their bread. Why does that still matter today? Because education should form capable people under God, not dependent subjects under bureaucracy.
Your kitchen's outdated. Your bathroom feels cramped. Every day you wait, prices go up. And you keep living in a space that doesn't work. At Forever Remodeling, one team handles everything. Design, planning, and installation, start to finish. We show you your new space in 3D before we ever break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you think. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4everremodeling.com to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Scott Bartmus, co-founder of ESCO, a security and fire alarm services business, and a customer of Signature Bank. We work hard to give our customers peace of mind, so it's nice to know that while we have our customers' backs, partners like Signature Bank have ours. When COVID hit, there was a lot of uncertainty for many businesses, particularly surrounding the PPP loan program, with parameters and deadlines changing constantly. The executives from Signature Bank worked weekends alongside their staff, filling out and submitting applications to ensure they took care of us. That type of dedication is hard to find, but we found it with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
We are back on Chicago's Morning Answer, AM 560 The Answer. Mike Coolidge in for Dan Proft. Dan played this Marco Rubio speech that is one of the best speeches you've heard, definitely, by a sitting office holder in recent memory. I mean, this is, as far as laying out the difference between the right and the left and what the left is up to right now, not just nationally, but internationally. And it's worth playing some of this. Here's a clip of the speech he gave, I think late last week.
It may wear various different slogans and ideologies across place and time. They can call themselves anti-capitalist or anti-imperialist or communist or anarchist or Marxist, but the fundamental character is always the same. It's always the same. It is a poisonous resentment cloaked in the language of equality and justice and liberation, an overwhelming need to tear down what greater men have built, to wreck what is beautiful and what is right on behalf of people who are only filled with ugliness and have nothing else to offer the world. Through violence and through terror, they once again seek to impose their ugliness on all of us. The old dogma was wrong. The old dogma was wrong. None of this is driven by idealism. It is not utopian. In fact, it is the opposite. One of the criticisms you sometimes hear of communism, for example, is that it sounds good in theory, but it never works in practice. That's actually not true. Communism does not sound good in theory. The world it envisions for all of us is small, flat, gray, leveled of all exception, drained of all that is good and noble in the human soul. The world it envisions is a world without courage, a world without creativity or ambition, a world without heroes or glory or great causes to strive towards, a world without miracles, without myths, without men who rise above the rest to do incredible and extraordinary things. And the world communism envisions is a world without God. For these architects of revolutionary violence, the towering achievement of our civilization, for them, it's an unbearable humiliation, a reminder of what they cannot do and a reminder of what they cannot be. So they choose instead to destroy. They attack pipelines, they attack railroads, they attack power grids and laboratories, the physical embodied symbols of power and invention and achievement. This is the nature of the terrorism we face today.
Now let's check into the newsroom with Mike Scott.
Mike, thank you. 7:30 on the dot. Here on AM 560, The Answer, 66 degrees in the QC Kinetics newsroom. The Archdiocese of Chicago sent out letters to 10 different church communities after 2 different retired priests were accused of sexually abusing minors. The Archdiocese says it's been informed a lawsuit will be filed alleging abuse by Father Kenneth Fleck. The abuse allegedly happened more than 30 years ago at Our Lady of Peace Parish. Father Fleck denies the allegations. He served parishes in Oak Lawn, South Holland, Tinley Park, and Chicago. The Archdiocese also sent letters about a lawsuit claiming abuse by Father Thomas Conde. That alleged abuse happened at St. James Parish more than 20 years ago. More than 1.5 million cartons of eggs are being recalled.
The FDA says the voluntary recall was put out by Midwest Poultry Services for brown and white shell eggs. The eggs were sold under several brands in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, New Mexico, and Mississippi, with labeling including Kroger's, Brookshire's, Country Morning, Simple Truth, and Sunups, along with a number of bulk grade A and grade AA egg cartons. No illnesses have been reported. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
Imports from more than 80 countries are now subject to new tariffs. The White House says the tariffs are tied to imports of goods made with forced labor. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says Iran will pay for attacking U.S. forces.
I saw Arachi, their foreign minister, who the other day say or something about their policies, an eye for an eye. The president's policy is a head for an eye. I mean, honestly, that's what it's going to be. I mean, they will pay a very heavy price for the things they're doing. They're already paying a very heavy price.
A Minnesota man will spend life behind bars for the killing and wounding of state lawmakers and their families.
Word is wet that it's over and he's going to prison forever and he won't hurt someone else.
And it's over, but it's never over. And, well, you know, she was a force and her husband was a wonderful man, and the world is a poorer place without them both.
A federal court handed down 2 life sentences for Vance Bolter. The 59-year-old shot and killed Minnesota State Democrat Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark in June of 2025. A man is dead after a violent night in the city of Chicago. 2 gunmen opened fire on that man and a teen boy on the west side Thursday evening. Also, a man and woman died after they were found shot inside of a car Thursday evening near the campus of the University of Chicago. And a man was killed, a woman badly hurt in a drive-by shooting near Promontory Point in the Hyde Park neighborhood Thursday night around 11:15. In other news we're following this morning, an investigation is underway after a body was recovered from the Fox River in Elgin. The identity male, cause of death, has not been established. And a bat tested positive for rabies in Chicago's western suburbs. On Thursday, that positive test marked the 3rd time this year that a rabid bat has been confirmed in Cook County, this time in LaGrange. Cubs and Pirates tonight. The AL Central leading White Sox hosting Houston, and the Blackhawks reunite with a legend. Patrick Kane, franchise icon.
It just feels right. Getting the news early this morning. He's still got a lot of gas left in the tank. He's a legend in the city. He's the greatest American-born hockey player ever to play, and he is sitting at the top of the greatest Blackhawk ever to wear that great sweater.
Blackhawk legend and broadcaster Eddie Olczyk. The news, a service of Steiner Homes. Building homes is more than a business, it's a calling. Family-owned, dedicated to building custom homes with care, integrity, and craftsmanship you can trust. SteinerHomesLTD.com. Steiner Homes. Love where you live. Traffic and weather up next on AM 560.
Scott Jennings sees a little common sense coming from the court.
The court upheld laws in Idaho and West Virginia that restrict boys from competing on girls' and women's sports teams, ruling that the bans are consistent with both Title IX and the U.S. Constitution. It's common sense, boys competing against boys and girls against girls.
The Scott Jennings Show, weekdays at noon, right before Hugh Hewitt at 2 on AM 560. The Answer. Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation. This is the Gulf of America cruise. 7 days through the Caribbean with Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn, and a ship full of people who love this country. No packing and unpacking, no complicated planning, just great destinations, meaningful conversations, and a once-in-a-generation celebration of America's 250th. This November, be there. Text CRUISE to 94878 to book your cabin today.
Each morning, the newsmakers and the newsbreakers shaping today's conversation are heard on the AlphaWealthGroup.com answer line on Chicago's Morning Answer. When you need answers about what's happening in your world, you turn to AM 560 The Answer. And when you need answers about how to prepare for and protect your retirement, you turn to the Alpha Wealth Group, now the proud sponsor of the AM 560 Answer line. Right here on Chicago's source for news, opinion, and insight. AM 560, The Answer.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You push yourself in everything you do, scanning headlines for insights, keeping an eye on the market. Robinhood puts you in control of your money, all on one platform. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
37 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Villa Park, they've cleared an accident. Ardmore and St. Charles. Wakanda, traffic signals are flashing red along Rand Road, US 12, right near Old Rand Road. Lakeshore Drive, slow northbound right around Soldier Field. Delays this morning on the Ike inbound between Austin and Ashland. Traffic, a service of Aleve. At some point, body pain may creep in and become your reality that day, but Aleve is here to keep you moving. One pill, 12 hours of body pain relief. Don't let that pain hold you back. Try Aleve today and, of course, always use as directed. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Now a check of your forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center. Mostly sunny, delightful afternoon, and a high near 80.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
That is what you are listening to. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560 The Answer. I am not Dan Proft. I am Mike Coolidge. Thrilled to be joining in on this Open Line Friday. Yeah, that's right. We're going to take open line calls later at 312-642-5600 on the alphawealthgroup.com talks and text line. We've been talking a lot of the show about the left and youth and why a good chunk of the left seems to be going full commie right now. Full commie. Our next guest took a while to get into politics. I think he waited until he was 11 to start his first conservative publication called the Truth Gazette. He now has he has 2 books out now. He has a brand new book, which he's going to tell you about here shortly. He is now the ripe age of 20 years old. Brylan Hollihan, welcome on to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560 The Answer with your host today, Mike Coolidge.
Well, good morning, Mike. Thanks for having me. Happy Friday.
Yes, happy Friday to you too. I've seen you on the TV a couple of times, and you are on your second book now. First, tell our listeners about your first book and why you wrote it, and then we'll get into what inspired you to write your second one.
Sure. So I guess I kind of got bored in high school. And my senior year, I decided I wanted to do a little bit more than just be a talking head on TV and wanted to write kind of an instruction manual to inspire the next generation. And when I got involved in politics, as you could probably imagine, in the 4th grade, there were a lot of people that talked down to you and said, well, there's no room for the next generation of politics. And so I was inspired by that famous Reagan quote from years ago where he said, freedom's one generation away from extinction. And I wrote a book about that. It was called One Generation Away, just kind of inspiring young people. Hey, you do have a place here. Our founding fathers were young people. The Declaration of Independence, average signing age was 30. There are young people that founded this country, so young people should still be involved in this country.
That quote is so crucial to remember. I mean, and it's said so often, unfortunately, that people take it for granted, but it really is true. If you don't pay attention, the next generation can destroy this entire country. And you see people as we speak who are not much older than you, Brylan, in New York City and elsewhere, and heck, here in the city of Chicago, who are not just intrigued by this idea of socialism, but have already thrown their lot in with the communists and saying, yeah, we want to get rid of the Senate. We want to get rid of even the presidency of the United States and just have the whole country run by Congress. A direct democracy kind of thing. This whole United States of America experiment, it's over, it's done with, let's trash it. That is exactly what Reagan was talking about when he said we're one generation away of losing the republic.
No, he was spot on then, and he predicted it. That was all the way back in 1967 when he was being sworn in to be California's governor. He just made that switch from being the TV actor to politician, and somehow he so accurately predicted exactly what was going to happen. And the reason it's true is because we are that one generation. It's not a fear-mongering statement. It's a true statement. I mean, what's in front of us isn't socialism. They get giddy when we call it socialism. That's a lot lesser evil than what they're really doing. It's like putting lipstick on a pig. The choice in front of us is between Christian nationalism and secular globalism, because they want us to choose to replace government with God in our life. They want us to fully put our hand out and expect everything from the government. So anything that takes attention away from government, worship, is dangerous. They've told us that faith is dangerous, that big families are dangerous. Somehow patriotism is dangerous. And all of these things have been sold with the promise of free, buses and getting rid of the rich. And I was just in New York City last week. They've got a little problem. Mamdani up there did tax the rich. And as a result of it, all of the billionaires that were paying the tax dollars to fund the city have fled town. Now they can't pick up their trash. They don't have, some of those workers to keep the city clean because all the money was run away.
Yeah. Like Margaret Thatcher said, the problem with socialism is eventually you run out of people's money, other people's money. But that is literally what is happening in New York. It happened in our state, Illinois. A lot of the job providers and wealthy people in the city of Chicago decided to pull up their stakes and move out of state. And with them, they took millions, in some cases, billions of dollars in charity giving, in jobs, in industries. And this is something that people, and no offense, but people in their 20s and early 30s even, who have no experience in life, have decided that's the way to go. Just keep taxing people and redistributing wealth to those who haven't done anything yet. I want you to talk a little bit about your life as a young conservative, and also bringing up a terrible topic, which is the death of Charlie Kirk. You wrote your first book before Charlie Kirk was assassinated, but I know that you were a follower of his and an acolyte of Charlie Kirk. And talk a little bit about your interactions with him before he was assassinated, and what his assassination meant to you, and also the larger movement here on the right among youth.
Yeah, it was one of the worst days of my life. Hopefully the worst thing I ever see. I was in my first semester of college, living on my own for the first time. I think I was a few weeks in the class, and I was walking out of an English class. I just talked to Charlie that morning, and I got a text from a mutual friend of ours, and was like, "Start praying. Charlie's on the way to the hospital." And I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, Charlie's speaking in Utah right now, and just talked to him." And then obviously, unfortunately saw the video, and the whole world got flipped upside down very quickly. And my very easy, laid back first semester of college turned into, going and debating on campuses, because the coward that assassinated my friend wanted to silence us. He wanted us to cower. He wanted us to mourn. He wanted us to, be quiet and just right away. And we weren't going to do that. But listen, Charlie was more than just, somebody I was able to look up to. He became one of my closest friends in a business full of vipers, as you know, in a business full of people that are always out to get you and knock you down a few pegs on the ladder. He was one that, brought me up with him. And that fourth grade podcast you mentioned, I started at 11 years old. He was the first guest on that podcast.
Really?
And he's been with me the whole time. And so I couldn't book anybody. As you know, it's kind of hard to book guests in the fourth grade. You don't have a lot of credibility. And so I remember emailing our local mayor and our local city council, and nobody would come on. And Charlie was coming to debate at a campus near me. And I remember DMing him, and I was like, "Hey, sir, can I just have 10 minutes of your time?" And he responded with, "You can call me Charlie, and you can have 30 minutes. And I thought that would be a one-time thing. I thought, we'd do the interview. I had the time of my life, and I'd never hear from him again. And the next day I got a text, and he was like, "Hey, I really enjoyed that. We should film more stuff together." And that started a 10-year friendship. So it's definitely not just going to end because some coward tried to pull the trigger.
The title of your book, Make America Talk Again, is connected in a way to Charlie Kirk, isn't it?
It definitely is. So I really feel that Charlie's life could have been spared, that President Trump wouldn't have, had that assassination attempt in that field in Butler. The temperature came down in the country on both sides of the aisle if we just started talking to each other. So the problem is, my generation, I'm 20, we were raised in a culture where politics and faith are taboo. So you don't talk about politics or faith at the dinner table. You don't talk about politics or faith in the classroom or in your Sunday school room. You don't have any practice talking about politics or faith. So the only examples that our generation sees are the most extreme things on Hollywood, on the news, on social media, where both sides are screaming at each other. So we think the first thing you do when you and I disagree on something is to scream at each other, to have an assassination, to rant online. It's not to look at each other and have civil discourse. And I really do think that coward, if he put down that gun, got off that rooftop, got in line and debated Charlie would still have 2 babies to wake up this morning and have a lot of life ahead of him. And that's what he wanted to do. Charlie knew the risk of debating. He knew that he would still be alive right now if he sat in the comfort of a podcast studio and just talked from behind a microphone all day. He wanted to go out there. He wanted to debate, because that's where people can actually have their minds change. And so right after the assassination, of course, my team thought we were crazy. Security was freaking out that we were going to go to 10 campuses, and all 10 campuses we went to, we had insane amounts of security threats. Every single time there was more than enough security threats to cancel the event. And we're just not going to do that. We're not going to stop debating and sharing truth, because as the title says, we have to make America talk again.
I hate to disagree with you, or even burst your optimistic bubble, and I don't want to. I hope you're right, and I know that intention of talking with people is absolutely ideal and is awesome, and you should continue this mission. I would only just caution you to continue to be vigilant with your security and everything else, because there are, I hate to break it to you, a lot of people out there who it's like talking to a doorknob. You're not going to get through to them, and they, come hell or high water, will try to, complete their violent mission. And that's where we need security. That's where we need, men with guns, making sure that these sort of people are not able to commit their acts. Heck, I just realized I wasn't even following it, but the White House Correspondents' Dinner Redux is happening tonight with President Trump in Washington, D.C. If listeners remember, the last time he attempted to do this a couple of weeks ago, his life was attempted to be assassinated again. And he said, we're going to do this again, and they're doing it tonight. So let's pray that it is a safe and good thing. And I pray for you, Brian Holohan, that you don't ever have to face any sort of violence or threats on your life, even that other people have had to face. But I really, really applaud your mission. And I encourage listeners to check out Make America Talk Again, available wherever books are sold. Anything else you'd like to add, Brian Holohan? That's HOLLYHAND, before we say goodbye.
I just appreciate your time. I appreciate your audience, and we got to keep fighting the good fight and stay out there. So I just hope everybody has a wonderful, happy, safe weekend.
Make America Talk Again. Brian Holohan, thanks so much for coming on to AM 560, The Answer.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
We'll be right back.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. Don't miss In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr., now heard on Sunday mornings at 7:30. Tune in and find hope as Jim Scudder explores God's Word and His world each Sunday morning right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Insurance came out about the roof, offered us $15,000. I was thrilled.
I know it seems like a lot, but I'm not sure that number is that generous. Insurance is usually going to lowball you.
I mean, I already found 2 companies who could replace it for that.
Sure, contractors will make it fit that budget, but they're cutting corners to make it work.
How's that?
Cheap materials, lower grade shingles with a poor warranty, reusing old flashing, cheap underlayment.
How would I even know?
You wouldn't. That's exactly why I'd call New Edge Improvement. They'll go through your insurance quote line by line, catch what's being cut, and fight to get you covered. You have a beautiful home, and New Edge Improvement will do a quality install and help you get the roof you're owed. One that matches the quality of what you had.
Thanks. I'll give New Edge Improvement a call.
New Edge Improvement. Visit them today at newedgeimprovement.com. Again, that's newedgeimprovement.com, and tell them AM 560 sent you.
The TV tide is turning, and millions of Americans are tuning to Salem News Channel. For breaking news, common sense analysis, and the conservative voices leading the conversation, SNC delivers the stories that matter most. Watch Scott Jennings, Larry Elder, Mike Gallagher, and many others tackling the issues facing our nation. Stream free on Pluto TV, Samsung TV, the Roku channel, and more. Salem News Channel. The news you want, the perspective you trust.
Hi, I'm Kirk Cameron. Christian Healthcare Ministries is not another health insurance policy. If you're tired of year-long contracts and pointless restrictions, CHM offers anytime enrollment on your schedule and at your convenience. With CHM, you're paying half the cost of a traditional health insurance plan. So that puts more money back into your budget for everyday needs. Plus, you'll have access to CHM's care solutions for virtual appointments, prescription savings, surgery support, and more. My family and I joined in 2018, and it's changed our lives for the better. We love paying way less while helping other believers afford their medical bills. Take the leap of faith and see why Christians across the nation are better with CHM.
Get started by calling 1-833-JOIN-CHM and use promo code WELLNESS for a 50% credit towards your first month. That's 1-833-JOIN-CHM and use promo code WELLNESS.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Take the journey of living a happy, successful, and meaningful life through God. Listen to It's Time with Dan Lights, Sunday mornings at 9 on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life. AM 560, The Answer.
$847 texted us on the alphawebgroup.com talk and text line, which is 312-642-5600. Yes, we will be opening the lines in our final hour coming up shortly. He asked what conference Rubio was at when he gave this amazing speech that we're going to continue to play clips of if we have time. It was at the Philippine International Convention Center in Manila, the Philippines, and the Loy Henderson Conference Room at the United States, or at the U.S. State Department in D.C. These clips, I don't know whether they were in the Philippines or in D.C. Doesn't really matter, but that's where they were, and it was a international convention about terrorism. But he brought up leftism. We talked before the break with the super young Brylan Hollihan. He's 20 years old, but he's been, writing books and in the conservative movement since he was a teenager. He does give me hope, but there's so many of the future. So many people who get themselves into terrible predicaments, like being $200,000 in student loan debt, and honestly, some of them they don't have the entire blame on them. Because how much do you honestly know at 18 years old about finances and the difference between $20,000 in debt, $2,000 in debt, or $200,000 in debt? It doesn't mean they're completely off the hook with their decisions, but it's insane that we have a system here where we allow people to take out $200,000 in debt. Wall Street Mav on X, our federal student loan system is allowing financially illiterate students in their early 20s to take on up to $200,000 plus in debt. And that debt cannot be discharged in bankruptcy. These degrees often have a pathway to very mediocre careers of $40,000 a year. And he's responding to the following. You can't get a $1 million mortgage if you make $100,000 a year. You can't get a $75,000 car loan if you make $35,000 a year. The fact that you can get $250,000 in student loans for a college degree where you're expected to earn $40,000 a year is unacceptable and a complete failure of U.S. society. We have 18-year-old kids making financial decisions that all but guarantee a lifetime of economic insecurity. These kids do not have the capacity to understand the implications of the debt they're taking on. The corrupt university system has successfully convinced them going to college is the, quote, smart thing to do, and that it will all work out. These colleges should have to take the financial hit when they load up 18-year-olds with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and that basic math would tell you will never be repaid. The federal government backstopping all these student loans does nothing but enable colleges to jack up their prices every year with zero accountability. Shameful. Absolutely true. And during COVID, they stopped the requirement for a lot of people to make the minimum payments on these student loans. So what happened? The interest on those student loans increased. And so a $200,000 loan, when you stop making payments on it for 2 years or longer, becomes a $240,000 loan or $280,000 loan because of compound interest. And and you can't get rid of that through bankruptcy. He's totally right. If we made the colleges themselves have to be responsible for this extreme debt, or we made it so that you couldn't take out these loans at all. A bachelor's degree, let alone a master's degree in political science or communication, and yes, I have both of those things, and I don't necessarily think they were worth the money I spent on them. Those are not tickets to financial wealth and extreme success. I tell you, when I walked in the radio studio almost 20 years ago with my master's degree from Northwestern, and he said, the first question he asked is, "Oh, how many commercials have you cut? How many advertisers have you sold? Did they teach you that at Northwestern?" No. That you have to bring in revenue in order to prove your worth to get paid, wages. To earn your keep at any business. Anyway, it is 8 a.m. on Chicago's WIND.
Not enough pain. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. There have been 13 straight nights of airstrikes in Iran, and President Trump says he might order a major attack, telling Axios Iran has not received enough pain yet.
He is seriously considering restarting major combat operations in Iran, including strikes that would be bigger than the ones carried out in Operation Epic Fury. He says, "I am considering a massive attack, bigger than ever before. I am close to making a decision. We are all set for it." Iran, though, has refused to capitulate despite the strikes. It rejected a U.S. ceasefire deal presented by Iraq. Iranian and Iraqi officials tell the New York Times. The sticking point was reportedly over the Strait of Hormuz. Tehran's not interested in a temporary deal that leaves that issue unresolved.
It's Fox's Madeline Rivera. As it was in 2024, immigration is shaping up to be a polarizing topic for voters in the midterm elections. Fox's Bill Malugin has more.
Now that the border's quiet, the conversation has shifted to what should be done about the millions of illegal immigrants already here. And some Democrats want immigration enforcement ended entirely. More migrant crime is back in the headlines. A Salvadoran illegal immigrant is now charged with felony hit and run causing serious injury or death after police say he killed 3 people in a crash in North Carolina on Saturday, then tried to flee the scene. But new Fox News polling reveals Democrats are gaining serious ground on immigration after getting destroyed on the topic in 2024. When asked which party would handle immigration better right now, Democrats now have a 1-point lead over Republicans, 50 to 49%.
Republicans had an 8-point lead over Democrats on immigration in the Fox News polling in April. President Trump's replacing tariffs that expired today with new ones, 10 to 12.5% on imports from 60 countries accused of inadequately enforcing bans on goods produced by forced labor. America's listening to Fox News.
"66 degrees. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Des Plaines officials are calling a condo building fire from a few months ago an arson.
Evidence indicates gasoline was used as the accelerant, and investigators determined it was poured throughout the hallways, common areas, and stairwells.
Fire Chief Matt Matzel says Tanner Babramley, who is accused of setting that fire, died in the blaze. The building remains uninhabitable. The Illinois Legislative Ethics Commission could soon be forced to release a report detailing the conduct of former state representative, Democrat Harry Benton. The commission voted to publish the Legislative Inspector General's report on the investigation that prompted the former Plainfield representative to resign over sexual harassment allegations. At an unrelated event yesterday, Governor Pritzker said he's content to let the investigation continue.
We live in a state where we have for too long had a history of corruption that needed to be rooted out, and it is being rooted out.
The Tribune previously reported that Illinois House Speaker Chris Welch and his office knew about the allegations a few years ago. A man and woman are dead. They were found shot inside of a car Thursday evening near the campus of the University of Chicago. Further investigation has revealed both the man and woman had been shot once in the head. Chicago sports Cubs and Pirates tonight. White Sox hosting Houston. Blackhawks reunite with forward Patrick Kane. And the Bears rookies are reporting to Hallis Hall this weekend. The news service of rockauto.com. Grinding and squealing are signs to you that it's time for new brakes. Skip the hassle, searching for the right parts, and shop rockauto.com. Find trusted name brand parts at lower prices, shipped to your door. All the parts you will ever need. rockauto.com. Traffic and weather coming up next, but first, let's get a check of the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
American Express is reporting a mixed quarter. Earnings topped expectations, but Wall Street was expecting stronger revenue. However, Amex says its customers are confident people are spending more on luxury and travel, and a growing number of young people, millennials and Gen Z, are using American Express cards. Its Platinum card with the highest annual fee and most perks is now its fastest growing product in its U.S. consumer business, though American Express shares are down 2%. Verizon shares are higher after it raised expectations for the year. Crude oil prices remain elevated, but off the highs that pushed Brent crude to top $100 a barrel yesterday. Brent crude is at $97 a barrel this morning. West Texas Intermediate at $89. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda. Invested in you.
Seanfest returns on August 28th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. Be a part of a live, on-location broadcast of The Sean Thompson Show, including a performance of the national anthem, followed by live music, food, drinks, and an opportunity to meet Sean Thompson. Registration is free. Go to 560theanswer.com/Seanfest. That's 560theanswer.com/SHAUN Fest. Sponsored in part by LeavingIL.com and by Unique Wooden Flags. WIND, Chicago.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1862, Abraham Lincoln signed the Morrill Act, helping states create colleges focused on agriculture, mechanics, science, and practical education. The principle was not centralized control, it was opportunity. Lincoln's Morrill Act reminds us that America can support education without surrendering education to Washington. Why did it matter? Because a free nation needs citizens equipped to work, build, steward, and govern themselves. Scripture gives work a sacred weight. In Genesis, God placed man in the garden to work it and to keep it. Proverbs honors the one who works his land. Paul warns against idleness and calls believers to earn their bread. Why does that still matter today? Because education should form capable people under God, not dependent subjects under bureaucracy.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
8:08, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Joliet, report of an accident. Manhattan Road, or US 52 and Rowell Road. Woodridge, 63rd and the Veterans Memorial Toll, I-355. Report of an accident. A right lane blocked on I-80 eastbound between Maple Road and Wolf Road with a car fire. Lakeshore Drive jamming up northbound Bryn Mawr up through Hollywood. And delays at the event of the summer. If you don't think so, you've never been there. No, it is not Lollapalooza. It's Pierogi Fest in Whiting, Indiana. Watch out for the road closures there. Traffic is a service of Fox Valley Coins in Naperville. Easy to get off on I-88 on Route 59 in Naperville. Family-owned Integrity since 1981. FoxValleyCoins.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Now let's check the forecast for Pierogi Fest in our Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today will be pleasant with sunny skies and a few clouds, reaching a high of 80. Tonight will be clear to partly cloudy with a low of 65. Tomorrow will be more humid with a mix of clouds and sunshine, reaching a high of 82. Sunday will be humid with intervals of sunshine and clouds, reaching a high of 90. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560, The Answer.
Greetings. Happy Friday, and welcome to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer, with Dan Proft. I am Mike Coolidge in for Dan Proft on, yes, this open line Friday. We will be taking your calls and thoughts and comments at 312-642-5600 later. But right now, I want to get into this whole debate about AI, conservatism, the internet, smartphones, and tech. Yeah. Brad Littlejohn wrote this piece in Commonplace, What Matters in America, Tech Policy's Libertarian Hangover, that talks about three particular phrases that kind of irks him. And he says, spoiler alert, none of these phrases you think are conservative actually are conservative. The first is, didn't Socrates warn against writing? Meaning Socrates was wrong to, question the idea of writing destroying society. Number two, you can't turn back the clock. Talking about just, AI unabashed. We shouldn't, try to stop it in any way or even question it. And number three, if you don't like it, AI stuff, don't buy it. He joins us now. He also, by the way, is from American Compass. We spoke a while back with Oren Cass, too. I assume you interact with Mr. Cass. Brad Littlejohn, welcome onto the show, by the way.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. Yeah, Oren is a great friend and mentor.
Yeah, he's as sharp as they come. And what I like about what American Compass is and what Commonplace is it doesn't just, question things that are going on the left. It questions things that are going on the right. And you brought up some really great points here. Why don't you give our listeners a Reader's Digest of what you were getting at here?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I think for many parents in America today, you may have noticed over the last year or two, these tech companies just downloading these AI chatbots onto your kid's computer or phone. These chatbots will offer to help them with their homework. They'll offer to be their best friend. Sometimes they'll engage in sensual and inappropriate conversations. And none of us as parents asked for this. None of us were consulted. None of us were even informed in many cases that these features are just being added. So there doesn't seem like we have a very functioning free market when it comes to technology in this country. And what I tried to do in my essay is say, why have conservatives been so sort of AWOL from that conversation about how to govern technology? And I think a lot of it is these lazy cliches that get in the way of serious thinking. So I mean, just like the third one, that I can go through. I can talk about any of them at length if you want, but you don't like it, don't buy it. This idea that, each of us are just individual consumers exercising a decision about whether or not to opt into these technologies. again, in some cases, they're just being added without even consulting us. In other cases, I think parents, in theory, are making a choice, but it's a very constrained choice. I don't know if you've seen the new Toy Story 5, but it's a great example of what parents are facing. Is it starts off with the kid, Bonnie. She's outside playing, but she's complaining that she doesn't have any friends. Nobody wants to play with her. And you're like, why is this? And the camera pans out, and you see every other kid in the neighborhood is on a device. And so her parents decide, well, I guess if we want Bonnie to have friends, then we need to get her a tablet too. And so there's the sense in which these network effects of technology can compel individuals or parents to feel like they have to make decisions to adopt technologies just because everyone else is. And we've lost the ability to deliberate together at a political level about what kinds of technologies are actually good for our families.
Yeah, it's a great point. I remember a school board meeting I went to years ago, talking almost 15 years ago when tablets first came out, and the school board meeting wasn't even questioned. They said, we need to get tablets for every single kid. Like, they all need to have one. I mean, this is just where technology is going. And literally no one questioned it. I didn't even question it at the time. I'm like, okay, sounds good to me. Maybe that wasn't the best decision. Or, even if it was the ultimate decision, we need to be confident to question stuff like that. And you bring up one of the, most, and some people think it's a crazy question that Socrates asked about writing. When writing literally first came out, because before writing, people, obviously none of us remember it, but it was everything was just passed on through rote memorization and recall and reciting things that you heard previously to writing. What was Socrates' point about writing? I think that really brings home what you're getting at here.
Right. Yeah, so people will invoke the example of Socrates and say, well, people have panicked about every technology when it was first introduced and how it was going to, ruin the youth and destroy our brains. And, look, we seem to be doing fine here 2,500 years later, right? And the reality is, Socrates' point wasn't that we should reject writing. The irony is, of course, we know about it because his disciple Plato thought it was worth writing down. But rather that there are trade-offs. There are always trade-offs with any new technology, and writing enables certain new, extension of human capacities, but also means that we're going to, if we're not careful at least, if we're not attentive to the trade-offs, we're going to lose certain human capacities. We're going to lose our ability to recall things. We're going to perhaps pull away from face-to-face conversation because we can just encounter ideas in a book. And I think it's important for us not to be afraid of technology, but to be attentive to it and to always ask when a new technology is being introduced, okay, what new things, what new possibilities is this opening up for us? But also what things might it be taking away from us? And then we have to choose whether the trade-off's worth it, or if, maybe if we're thoughtful, we can figure out some way, hopefully, to influence the design of the technology so that we can get as many of the benefits as possible with as few of the downsides as possible. And I think, that's definitely the case for AI, where there's all kinds of amazing possibilities that it opens up. But in terms of there's no reason that we couldn't get the benefits of AI without putting in a lot of these guardrails in terms of protecting kids from content that's going to melt their brains or make them develop attachments to artificial girlfriends.
One part of your piece that really struck me was how network effects have basically made opting out of smartphones and social media almost impossible for families. I mean, you don't want to be the one kid in the room, and you don't want your kid to come home and say, yeah, mommy, why won't you literally everyone else has a smartphone or a tablet, why don't I? And when someone says, look, just be a better parent and monitor them better, the government doesn't need to step in. And that's, as a conservative myself, the solution shouldn't always be government right away. There are other ways to do this. But
right.
How do you push back on that? Does the government have any role in this?
Yeah, I think the role of the government is to meaningfully empower parents. And I think the way we do this in other domains is we say, and I think, honestly, the difficulty is when you let the cat out of the bag, it's actually quite hard to reverse. If we'd had these sensible policies in place in the early days of smartphones and the internet, I think it would have been a lot easier for individual parents to make smart decisions. Now it's going to be harder. But I think things that we can definitely start with are saying, look, every time your kid downloads an app, they have to agree to a terms of service agreement. That is entering into a contract. Your child is entering into a commercial contract with that platform. And guess what? They're a minor. They shouldn't be able to do that. Only you as a parent should be able to enter into that contract on their behalf. In terms of hardcore pornography, kids aren't like that. That is not by any stretch of the First Amendment protected content for children. And yet we say, oh, well, it's up to parents to just police that. But we don't say that with alcohol and tobacco. We say, all right, this is not safe for kids. Therefore, anyone who's in the business of selling it, it's their job to make sure that they're not selling it to a kid. And so I think these policies that would put age verification in place that would actually make it possible for parents to be back in the driver's seat are a crucial first step. And it's only a first step because, as I said, like once everybody has them, it's hard for individual parents to push back. And I think that's where policies at the school level are so important, and where it's very encouraging that we're seeing this finally this reversal in schools, getting some technology out of the classroom. And I think we need to, parents need to show up to those school board meetings and have done the reading and be ready to make their voices heard.
Yeah, I remember reading not too long ago that the Silicon Valley area, where so much of this technology is born, the elite private schools out there got rid of technology in the classroom years ago because the whole discipline of reading a physical book and discussing it immediately with people without any technology assistance is a much better way for kids to learn than a lot of this immediate stuff.
Yeah, and the thing about AI is AI makes it easier to do everything, right? And that's what makes it such exciting technology, and it could unlock new forms of science, new forms of productivity. But with kids, any parent knows the point of being a good parent isn't about making everything as easy as possible for your kids. It's about forcing them to do hard things. And so I think we do need to really distinguish between what are the uses of AI that might be great for adults, and then do those make sense for kids if it's making it easier for your kid to do everything from, researching their paper to asking a girl out on a first date. Nowadays, kids are relying on ChatGPT to do their homework and to help them form romantic relationships. And that is depriving them of the opportunity for the hard mental and emotional development that they need to be functioning adults.
It reminds me of this thing that went viral. I'm going to try to get it played after the commercial break here. When you're paired with a ChatGPT kid on the golf course, and it's a kid not knowing how to have a conversation with another human being. So literally every question he says, hey, how are you today? ChatGPT, how am I today? And then it answers it. And then it's brilliant. We'll try to find it on the other side of the break. But these are really important questions that are brought up here by Brad Littlejohn. You can find this on Commonplace, What Matters in America, Tech Policies, Libertarian Hangover. And where are you on X, Brad, assuming you're on the old X?
I am not on X. I deleted my account a few months ago and have not regretted it.
What are you, a Luddite?
I know that's bad. I'm on Substack.
Substack.
You can find me on Substack.
Find Brad Littlejohn on Substack. He puts his money where his mouth is. Brad Littlejohn on Substack. Search for him, and also at American Compass. Really enjoyed chatting with you on this end of the week show, Brad. Thanks for coming on a Chicago's Morning Answer, and have a great weekend.
You too.
We'll be right back.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as Big Wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments, just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data
from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
The following contains a celebrity impersonation.
Mr. President, we're seeing reporting that air conditioning systems are failing as temperatures rise. What is your response?
I said, don't wait. People wait until the last second, then suddenly it's hot and nothing works. I understand this stuff probably better than anybody.
Mr. President, why hasn't the White House issued any guidance?
I gave perfect guidance. Call Air Right Heating and Cooling. That's the guidance. If people followed it, we wouldn't even be talking about this.
Sir, but homeowners have so many HVAC options.
They're not like Air Right. You've got some bad installers out there, some real bad hombres. I wouldn't let them near the White House. It would be a complete disaster.
Mr. President, there are reports of significant rebates on new systems. Can you confirm?
I've heard about them. A lot of people talking about them. If you miss out, you'd have to be really not so smart. Tremendous savings, let me tell you.
Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling at AIR-RITE.com. Air Right, doing it right since 1959.
This is Seth Leibson for townhall.com. Few great speeches last. We still study and know, or at least recognize a line or two from perhaps a dozen of them, from Pericles to Lincoln, from Martin Luther King to Ronald Wilson Reagan. Secretary of State Marco Rubio delivered such a speech last week, and its heft speaks to its durability, its importance to its endurance. Rubio, the Trump administration's in-house intellectual carrying the portfolio for ideological threats to the West, spoke on the resurgence of political terrorism. He punctured all the progressive historians' narratives, namely that political violence and terrorism is and has been the unique province of the right. He detailed the history of terrorism, from Marxist inspiration to Islamism to their toxic confluence constituting the red-green axis. Then he released a report on Cuba as the fount of an unprecedented wave of left-wing terrorism in America and throughout the world. Few have understood political violence and its intellectual roots as well as Secretary Rubio. To defeat it, we need to heed the teachings of the good secretary.
AM 560.
The Answer. Open mic! Open mic Friday! Call in now! Open mic Friday!
312-642-5600. AlphaWealthGroup.com talk and text line. Yes, I believe that's Justin's vocal cords singing there, the Open Line Friday. And as dedicated a listener as I am to this radio show, and yes, I listen every single day, every single segment, I cannot remember what Dan's phrase is about Open Line Friday. He says, I forget what it is. Maybe you can help me at 312-642-5600. Ken is on the air right now. He's formerly from FRAR. That's all I can see. I can't see what FRAR continues. But go ahead, Ken.
No, that is formerly Frankfort, Illinois. I am now a statistic.
Yes, from east of Joliet. I know where Frankfort is, but now you're a statistic. And you woke up in Oklahoma today. How did that happen? Teleportation?
Yes, sold my house and got the heck out.
And why did you do that?
I'm tired of crime. I'm tired of taxes. I'm tired of corruption. I had enough.
And how are you liking Oklahoma so far?
I love it. It's like being in a different country.
Well, do me a favor, Ken. Please continue to listen to AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. It's a hard habit to break, right?
It is. I'm kind of addicted to it. I normally don't listen live from at work, but now that I'm not working, I can listen live.
Yeah, you can listen live.
Until I get a job.
You can call in. That's the greatest part. I tend to listen to this show, like I said, on delay or, an hour or two after it airs. And there's so many times where Dan says something or a guest says something or a caller says something that I want to chime in. And I'm like, oh, wait, that happened 95 minutes ago, But here you are listening live, as is Rick in Downers Grove. Rick, you are on Open Line Friday.
Hey, how you doing? Hey,
Great.
What is with these Republicans, especially Foon, with this can't-do attitude? I mean, it's like he's not even giving the impression of trying to get the Save America Act done. And I was just thinking, if people like Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, people like that had that attitude, oh, it can't be done, it's too hard, we'd be living in the Stone Age yet. So I think these people are overpaid, underworked, and they're too concerned about getting a nice table in a restaurant because they're a senator or going on TV. But they're not really – that doesn't strike me as he's actually working to get this done because he thinks it's too hard.
I appreciate that, Rick from Downers Grove. 312-642-5600 is the alphawealthgroup.com talk and text line. It's – Washington, D.C. and the Senate in particular is tricky. There should be a way to get the Save America Act through, or the SAVE Act. There is, actually. And Mike Lee has spelled it out. You don't need 60 votes. You just need 50. And we already know that Lisa Murkowski, and there's 53 senators, right? Lindsey Graham passed away. And his sister has already been sworn in. So we still have 53 Republican senators. Murkowski, we know, is a no on it. I think she's been open about it. I believe Susan Collins is too. And Bill Cassidy maybe from Louisiana. This is off the top of my head. So that's 3. That gets down to 50. And who knows? You might have someone like a John Fetterman voting for it. So, and then even if he doesn't, you only need Vice President Vance to break the tie. I don't know why Thune doesn't just call for it, put these people on record. Do we believe in election integrity or not? Do we believe that only citizens of the United States should vote in our elections or not? It's a pretty simple question. It's a pretty simple proposition here. And I've not given out hope yet. I know I heard, I think it was Will Chamberlain come on this show earlier this week with Dan and say he doesn't think it's going to happen. I'm not giving up hope yet. We have Glenn in Orlando, not Orlando, Illinois, Orlando, Florida. Go ahead, Glenn, on Open Mic Friday.
Yeah, former resident of Illinois, but I only come back to visit now. I'm not a resident, but I have a question for everybody voting in Illinois. Has your life gotten better under Democrats or worse? And do you anticipate if Democrats continue to hold office, will your life get better or worse? It's just a simple question, you know. And by quality of life, I'm talking about schools, I'm talking about healthcare, I'm talking about taxes, I'm talking about, do you have common sense people running the operation or not? And that's a question only everyone has to answer individually. Not, I can't tell people what to do, but you should really ask those questions and be honest with yourself.
Thank you, Glenn. It's such an important question, and it's one of the most frustrating things in politics is convincing people that they need to vote even in these midterm elections. The government we have is the government we deserve. If we don't get out and vote, you're going to have people like Brandon Johnson get elected. You're going to have clowns like J.B. Pritzker be working on running for a third term in the second or possibly worst governed state in the country, back and forth with California, and no consequences for it. Like we played earlier, the clip with Greg Gutfeld. It used to be that when you were poor at your job in government, you were punished at the polls. Worst case, you had to resign or were kicked out of office or impeached. But at the very least, you didn't win the next election. You didn't deliver the goods in good governance to the electorate. Nowadays, especially on the Democrat side, you're rewarded for incompetence. You're promoted upward. I mean, if the Democrat ticket is, and this is what money would be. And I know Kamala Harris is winning or leading in the polls right now, and I really, really hope she wins the nomination, because that would all but guarantee a Republican in the White House in 2028. And I think a Rubio or Vance would beat a Newsom and or a Pritzker too. But if it's not Kamala Harris, it will likely be, as of right now, in late July 2026, if you had to bet money, you probably might say it's Newsom and Pritzker, right? The two worst governors in the entire country rewarded with the nomination of their party. That's what, if the election were held tomorrow, I think that's what would happen. Like the Democrat primary, I mean. And I know you got to go through every state and it takes months, blah, blah, blah. I'm saying if everyone had to vote tomorrow, who's going to be the Republican nominee? I think it would be the exacta box. If there were three horses, it would be two of these three. Kamala, who's done literally nothing in her elected office. At least Pritzker and Newsom have a record of governing to judge, and the judgment is terrible. The judgment is F- on both of them. Kamala Harris was an attorney general and U.S. senator, neither of which really are enacting laws or pushing legislation forward. I mean, a senator is, but she didn't do anything as senator. Anyway, you shouldn't be rewarded for incompetence, and they are. Ali G, or no, I should say Larry from Elmhurst wants to talk about Ali G and the mob. I thought Ali G himself was going to be on either Alexi Giannoulias or Sacha Baron Cohen, but Larry from Elmhurst joins us. Go ahead, Larry.
Hey, good morning. No, this is about Alexi Giannoulias.
Yes.
It's on YouTube. It's called Alexi, Married to the Mob. Evidently, he's been accused of giving out CDLs to Custom Trucking, another mob-owned trucking company, to some of the drivers. He's denying it, but you know how that goes. And another year, I've already been checking out Missouri, so I may be going down there, getting out of this state.
Alexi Giannoulias is all but certainly going to be running for mayor of Chicago right around the corner. And any sort of insinuations or allegations about dealings with the mob and whatnot, not going to hurt him. Not going to in any way hurt his chances in the Democrat primary, which, I mean, no, there's not even a primary for mayor.
Well,
yeah, I'm not saying he's going to win for sure, but that's where we're at. In 2026.
That's what I mean. It doesn't. Nobody cares. All politician in Chicago or Illinois has to do, just go and just promise everybody a brand new car, get in office, and then just put your agenda down.
Thank you, Larry from Elmhurst. Art has answered the trivia question. What is the phrase that Dan Proft uses for Open Line Friday? Art in Cook County, go ahead. What is that phrase?
Well, thank you, Mike, for taking my call. You're doing a good job filling in for Dan, and the word is correct pottery.
Yes, General Crack Pottery. That I know is part of the phrase he uses. But you had a point about Vladimir Lenin you wanted to share.
Yeah, it was really, first of all, Tsar was really kind of brutal, and he directly or indirectly encouraged pogroms, murders of thousands of Jews, and there was oppression of workers in Russia. So it wasn't all peachy and perfect during Tsar, but Lenin, revolution was also bloody. But Lenin didn't murder millions of people; it was thousands.
Can I ask, based on your accent, where you're originally from? Art, from Cook County?
From Europe.
From Europe. Okay. I mean. What and are you over the age of 50 years old?
No.
Are you over 40?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're somewhere in your 40s. What I was going to ask was, what do you think of these younger people? You're not exactly, that long in the tooth, but these younger people in their 20s who are fantasizing and fetishizing almost Vladimir Lenin and Chairman Mao Zedong for that matter.
Yeah, actually, I met a really nice-looking guy and pretty smart guy, but he's a big fan of Stalin. So, I think it's part of it, injustice kind of to it. It seems like some people really like wealthy people, and like Musk and stuff. It's, Elon Musk, he's a smart guy, but he couldn't get ahead without probably connections with government. You have to know somebody to get, so some people kind of feel it's injustice and stuff like that, and unfairness and all that stuff. But also we don't realize how unless once you unleash the brutality of communism or Nazism, it's very hard to stop it. So we don't realize. We're probably naive and ignorant. We didn't realize that once once you pop, you can't stop it. So
it doesn't end well, Art. You're totally right. It does not end well. Thank you for calling in. Marge on the Northwest Side on Open Line Friday, 312-642-5600 on the alphawealthgroup.com talk and text line. Go ahead, Marge.
Hi, I live in Illinois, and I'm a conservative in Illinois, and I'm starting to think that maybe Pritzker just has so much money that he can buy his way into any office he wants to get in, because I cannot believe that the people of Illinois are this stupid to keep electing that man into office. And then we have Darren Bailey who's running, and I don't hear any big money behind him, so I don't have any faith that he's going to get in either. I'm just wondering what other people's opinions are on this.
Marge from the Northwest Side, I appreciate it. We do have, and I'm honored to be joined now. We didn't set this up, but the actual Prime Minister of Ireland is coming on the show right now. He's actually vacationing, it looks like, in Ogden Dunes. Go ahead, PM of Ireland.
Well, I think this Pritzker is a complete waste of space. He thinks grape nuts is an STD. He doesn't understand that just because he has money does not mean the communist element won't go after him when the time is right. It's an amazing thing that a man can inherit billions of dollars and then be a socialist communist. I don't understand at all. Ireland has been ruined this way, and I'm just sad for this. Do you tell me, do you think that the governor of Illinois is a nihilist?
Is a nihilist? I don't know. I don't think he knows what a nihilist is, actually. I don't think he's that smart, J.B. Pritzker. Do you?
Well, I used to be a nihilist, but then I went to the Great Pyramids, and, I saw the Sphinx. I was in front of the Sphinx. I was on the right side of the Sphinx. I was on the left side of the Sphinx, but I did not go behind the Sphinx. You know why, don't you?
Something. Why don't you tell us? That's something to do with the Nile, I'm guessing.
It's Sphinx back there.
Oh, wow. It's Sphinx back there, yeah. You threw me off with the nihilist comment. I was thinking, denial is not just a river in Egypt. Prime Minister of Ireland, I really appreciate you joining in. An honor to speak with you, too. Please give our best to the Blarney Stone. Eduardo in Tampa Bay joins us. Go ahead, Eduardo, on Open Line Friday on the alphawealthgroup.com talk and text line.
Yeah, I got to come. Any of you people listening in your listening area that are still think it's Bible to live in Chicago or, take your pick up there in the north, New York, Seattle. I don't know what you guys are thinking, because come November, there's going to be a change of. I saw this online. 105 million people. We do a bad job on this side as far as marketing our that's why we can't get the SAFE Act. 105 people are not working. 105 million people are not working. Shoplifting is up. The gas thing is high. Even here, it's $1 more. Telemundo, I noticed that hasn't been mentioned because, the Republicans champion that the Latino vote is, vote of Republic. But I'm afraid listening to Telemundo Univision, it's buyer's remorse. Bad marketing, bad communication on the Republican side. And it's a shame if we do lose even one house, because we shouldn't. Not to a bunch of idiots like that. Like Mr. Texas, what's that guy's name?
Tallarico? The guy running in.
Right.
Yeah.
That is embarrassing to lose to an idiot like that.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to lose Texas. I don't think we're going to lose New Hampshire either, although, Susan Collins, I mean, she's definitely better than any leftist they put up there, but she's as moderate as they come and is not voting for the SAFE Act. But the House of Representatives is really a coin flip right now. And you're right. If we are not paying attention and not getting our message out to all different, communities. I know Telemundo does reach a lot of, I know it's a very leftist news network, but a lot of Republicans and conservative Latinas and Latinos do watch Telemundo as well, right? So, let me ask you real quick before we let you go on this Open Line Friday. How are you, and how did you come across Dan Proft's radio show on Chicago's Morning Answer? Are you a transplant?
Yeah, I mean, I've been listening for a long time. I call it Eduardo's NSA. I like to monitor what's going on the airwaves, and I go to networking events, and I talk to a lot of people.
But you're not from Illinois. You don't have an Illinois connection?
Yeah. I've been long line. I left Chicago 3 years ago. I'm 55 years old, so 50 years in Chicago. So, like somebody said before, the taxes, the crime, the weather, that's the reason why I'm in Tampa.
All right. Well, we appreciate you listening, Eduardo, and thank you. And Dan will be back on Monday, but I appreciate you listening here with Mike Coolidge with a K filling in. Greg in LaGrange has a question about Darren Bailey. Go ahead, Greg.
Hi. Darren Bailey's been a subject for the last couple of days on the station, and rightly so, because he has not come out and he is not actually campaigning. And the idea that you actually have a Republican candidate for governor, and we were fooled last time, and we evidently were fooled again when we had an excellent opportunity to put in somebody that knew what the hell was going on, in Ted Dabrowski. And the other thing I want to segue to is what Eduardo said, and from Tampa Bay, and he was up here, and I believe what he said to open his comments is 100% correct. When November rolls around, this is going to be a bad place to be, Illinois. And I'm actively looking. A lot of people I know are actively looking. But I can only imagine the disaster and the mayhem that will be unleashed if this un-American party wins a majority of if they win the House and the Senate. I don't think the election for president in the future is wide open for us either. I really don't. I think it's a very bad situation we're in. We have a bad situation with DSA. Their message is very, very anti-American, and we need to work hard at putting these candidates that they're running up against us out of contention. Just we have to get out and vote, and that's the important thing. We cannot let these elections slip by. You can only take so much. Thank you.
That is, that's the main point there. Thanks for calling in, that we absolutely need to vote. But a bunch of things you mentioned there. Darren Bailey is campaigning. He's coming out to my county on August 1st to the Ogle County Fair. He'll be there on a Saturday, 2 p.m. Me and the Lee County Republican Party chairman. I'm the chairman of Ogle County Republican Party are hosting him and Brian Drew, who you heard earlier, and Max Solomon running for treasurer, and there might be some other candidates there as well. These statewide candidates, including Darren Bailey, are going all over the state campaigning. Just if you haven't seen them in your neck of the woods, they hopefully will be there soon. But the voting part is so crucial, and what happens with so many Republican voters, it's just factually correct, is they only vote in the presidential elections. It's so sad and depressing, but it's true. And I kind of understand it. I try to put myself in the shoes of people who only vote in the presidential elections. They think that, well, we got that guy in, and President Trump got him into a second term, and we will do everything we need to, or he's going to do everything we want. We don't need to, keep voting for the Republicans in the midterms. He's got it. No, he doesn't. If he loses the House, he's going to get impeached weekly, which doesn't mean he's going to kicked out of office, obviously, but they'll have the votes in the Democrat House. Hakeem Jeffries will be the Speaker of the House, and they'll get through impeachment articles for something stupid and pointless like they did last 2 times. And his whole agenda will be gummed up, even if we keep control of the Senate. Can we get a Supreme Court justice or 2 in if somebody retires? Yes, because that does not need to go through the House. Can any meaningful legislation, though, get passed and signed into law? No. Now, you might say, well, it can't get signed into law now, right? We have both houses. Why can't we do anything now? That's a great point. But it will get worse if the Democrats take control of the House. And this governorship in Illinois, it will be just the biggest rubber stamp on incompetence and idiocy if J.B. Pritzker is reelected. Absolutely worst governor in the country, neck and neck really with Gavin Newsom. And it's going to really put wind in his sails to run for president in 2028. Because he's going to right away, as soon as if he is somehow winning election. We do have the votes if everyone goes out and votes. There were, 2.4 million voters in 2024 who voted for Donald Trump, and J.B. Pritzker won by, he got 2.2 million last time. So if everyone voted for Bailey, who voted for Trump in 2024, Bailey wins. Will they vote? Will you vote? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Margot from Burr Ridge on this Open Line Friday on the alphawealthgroup.com talk and text line. This is so much fun. 312-642-5600. Go ahead, Margot.
You're doing a great job, but I do have one bone to pick with you. That was a great interview with Brian Drew, but you said something that really gets my hackles up. You said that it would take all the independents and some Democrats crossing over for a Republican to win Illinois. No, here's what it would take. It would take them to expunge all the voter rolls and re-register everybody to vote in Illinois, and no mail-ins. That is what it would take for a Republican to win in Illinois. And until we do that, I'm just praying that woman Harmeet Dillon gets here and just rips the whole thing apart. She's a bulldog, and I'm just praying for her to come to Illinois.
Yeah,
because she's going to make New Jersey look like play school. What's going on in the state. Our elections are so embezzled. That is the only way to do it. And they really should have everybody re-register with the National Guard from another state to make it right.
No, you're bringing up a huge point, Margot, and I totally agree. And you're kind of mischaracterizing what I said. I didn't say that no one, a statewide Republican can't win with just Republican votes. I'm just saying that the way it currently is right now, with the amount of registered the amount of people that vote in Republican primaries versus vote in Democrat primaries, when you add them all up, again, a lot of it might be illegal aliens or people who aren't and shouldn't be eligible to vote. And that's not crazy because 400 illegal aliens we just found out voted in New Jersey, which is what you're referring to. And you could probably add a 0 to that, or maybe 2 zeros to that in Illinois, which is enough to change a statewide election. But my only point is that we need, in an office like comptroller, which is a really, really nonpartisan office when you boil it down, even though he's a good, solid Republican, Brian Drew, Democrats and independents will need to cross the aisle and vote for him. Same goes with the governor's race. It's only going to help him, and we need that to happen. But we can do both. We absolutely need to clean up the rolls as well.
Well, yes, that's for sure. Okay. Well,
all right. Thank you, Margot. Thank you, Margot, for calling in. Gary from Palos Heights. He's really optimistic on Darren Bailey's chances. Is that right, Gary?
No, not at all. He isn't out there campaigning. He's not doing anything. I think he was supported behind the scenes by Pritzker just to run, so he knows he would not have any real competition, Pritzker. And if anybody really believes anybody can beat him with the unions, with CTU, with SEIU and everybody else, and the Democrats, listen to Sean Thompson. There's no way in the world these Democrats are going to let anybody, take over the election. It's just a complete farce, unfortunately. That's unfortunately, we're stuck here in Illinois. And
Well-
not going to be able to do anything about it.
I appreciate you calling in, Gary from Palos Heights. I don't share your pessimism. I think as soon as we kind of throw up our hands and say, oh, there's nothing we can do, that is the sort of attitude that results in us losing time and time again in statewide elections and local elections. We have to get out of the super minority in Illinois. I say we as in Republicans. We're not a super minority in the state. When you poll people in Illinois on the issues, and even on just whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, we're like a 52, maybe 53 to 47, 48 state, Democrat to Republican. And certain issues, we're a more conservative state than you would think. We're not as far left as, say, a Massachusetts or a, pick your state in New England, or California for that matter. It's just the voting part that makes it seem like we're so extreme to the left, and the gerrymandering that the Democrats did, which results in 14 Republicans in Washington, D.C., and just 14 Democrats in our congressional delegation, compared with just 3 Republicans. That is not reflective of if our legislature was reflective of even the most liberal polling on the issues in Illinois, it would be, we would have dozens more seats in Springfield, and the breakdown of the congressional seats would be something that we'd have like 7 or 8 Republicans versus or 6 or 7, let's say, versus how many Democrats it would be, whatever 17 minus 6 is. I don't know. Speaking of 6, 7, I know that's an old thing, but here's that golf thing I was talking about, the point, and Justin was very fast in getting this ready. This is where so many kids are these days with the ChatGPT and AI. This is a younger kid being paired with an older kid playing golf.
Hey, what's up, kid? How you doing? Hey, ChatGPT. He said, "What's up?" What should I say?
You can totally just mirror it back and say, "Hey, what's up?" Or maybe add a little twist like, "Not much. How about you?"
Not much. How about you? I'm good. Whew, that was close. Looks like you got 120 in. Hey, ChatGPT. I have 120 yards in. What club should I hit?
I'd definitely say go with your pitching wedge.
I can't really tell which way this breaks.
He's looking at the putt, doesn't know which way it breaks. He asked ChatGPT, but
Where does this putt break?
His phone is dead. He doesn't know what to do. He can't access ChatGPT.
All right, I'm in 8 there. What about you?
All right, this is where...
You gonna answer? 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 7.
He doesn't know what to say because he's relying on ChatGPT to converse with his golf partner. I know you may have to look it up online. It's funnier, the visual parts of it. But yeah, the point being, too many of us, especially young people, rely on this ChatGPT AI stuff just for even just normal conversations with fellow human beings. All right, we got time for 2 more. We have Owen in Willowbrook. Go ahead, Owen.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. It'd be great to clean out the voter rolls and somehow overthrow the supermajority of Democrats here, but I think the real problem is not just doing that, but it's the money behind them from these unions, these state unions, especially the teachers union, that control all this. And I don't know if there's I don't know if we'd ever be able to bust the unions and the money behind it, but that I think is the real problem.
Yeah. I mean, you're 100% right. The government unions and teachers unions have such an inordinate amount of power here in Illinois. They choose the candidates. They give all the money to the candidates. They actually are in total control of the mayor of the 4th biggest city in the country, the biggest city in the entire Midwest. And yeah, it's completely corrupt because they have their dues automatically taken out from the employees, and it's given to them, and they just give it to the Democrats, who they're on the same side of the bargaining table. It's completely corrupt. And I don't know that we're going to do anything about it anytime soon, but don't give out hope. I don't want to run out of time because Chuck from Delavan is on the line, and we're going to him now. Chuck, I think we have about a minute, so take your time here. Chuck from Delavan, what's going on?
That's great. So downtown Delavan tomorrow night at the Phoenix Band Show, Saturday. Be there at 7 p.m. They got a Led Zeppelin ripoff band, and be there. All the smoke is gone. There's no more smoke. I want everybody here to have a great weekend. We did have a Pritzker signing over by the beach by Chuck's, and to save the whale people, we're trying to push them back into Lake Geneva. So you guys have a great weekend.
Chuck from Delavan. I do appreciate Chuck. All of these, well, he's already off the line. All of these things he always promotes, I always wonder if they are real. I assume they are. I love Delavan. I love Lake Geneva. But yeah, and sometimes I'm very disappointed when Dan runs out of time and is not able to get Chuck from Delavan on. And that one time where Chuck didn't call in, I was really worried about him. But so glad to hear that he is good to go. Well, we are good to go, and we cannot thank you enough for tuning in on AM 560, Chicago's Morning Answer. Follow me on X if you so desire, KOOLIDGE. Dan, we'll be back on Monday. This is WIND Chicago, and in, I don't know, about, let's see, only if my watch is right, yeah, in about 3 or 4 seconds here, it will be exactly 9 o'clock.
Another tack on tariffs. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. New tariffs are in effect, replacing others expiring today, covering more than 99% of U.S. imports, the White House says.
Imports from 60 countries will face anywhere from 10 to 12.5% tariffs in response to what the Trump administration says are human rights abuse and distortive trade practices. The administration has relied on different authorities to maintain a tariff regime after the U.S. Supreme Court struck down so-called reciprocal tariffs in February.
Fox's Jared Halpern. There have been more